It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It is Tuesday, February the 20th, a day that always leaps off the calendar for me personally. I'll explain a little later. In the meantime, it's Tuesday after a holiday weekend. We're back. We're all happy to be back together live in the studio. Good morning. How was everybody's weekend, Tony? I'm looking at you first.
Hi.
You look fresh and chipper.
I feel better. I had been sick for a long time, and I had a rough weekend, but I'm back in the game.
What's the rough weekend
Back
mean?
alive.
Was that
I was on this, just super powerful, scary from the future antibiotic. And I had,
Really?
hallucinations and body aches and headaches. Yeah, it was really bizarre.
Was it one of those that they took it from the permafrost in Alaska? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it comes with a list of warnings.
Really?
Pages long, but it blasted the beast out of me. And
Nice.
I'm a little nasal, but I feel good. I feel alive.
What was the most fun side effect?
Fun was probably the hallucination and insomnia.
Nice.
It was kind of like being on mushrooms or some acid trip or something.
They go hand in hand, those two things.
Yeah, I just embraced it.
Flops,
Any extras?
Any sweat, cold chills and sweat and all that stuff?
Yes, all the fun things.
Awesome. Tony,
My family hated me.
Tony is just doing everything he can to simply avoid using the term ayahuasca, but that's exactly what happened over the weekend. He and Aaron Rodgers are now joined at the hip. Candace, weekend, yes, up, down. What happened?
Wow, lots of stuff, lots of great stuff. But the highlight was definitely going to the World Cup. That was pretty amazing.
It looked to be pretty amazing.
Skiing. Yeah, it was so cool. I was just,
Really?
There were probably like 15,000, 20,000 people there, maybe more.
Yeah.
But just to see, the incredible talent of these people, it's insane. And there was an Italian there who got second place.
Right.
And his name is Federico Pellegrino. Isn't that amazing?
Pretty strong.
Yeah. And just, seeing
Like the
everybody.
water.
And then our hometown girl, Jessie Diggins got third too, and it was just so cool. I love watching the chicks because their ponytails just go swoosh, 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 and they're more fun to watch because they kind of I feel like they go harder and they separate themselves. So all the guys kind of go in a line together.
Okay, all right. So it's really
cool.
But pretty much mostly about the ponytail for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fantastic. That's it was great that they were able to pull that off. I mean, a couple weeks ago it was pretty dicey proposition, but thank God the snow came when it did. Zepp, how's the weekend?
It was kind of a blend of Candace and Tony's weekend, really. Just if you dovetail those two together, that was my weekend. How about you, Steve?
Skiing on mushrooms. Man, watch yourself out there.
I will. They put them in capsule form now, so you don't have to pop the old mushrooms. They've grind them down, just call them caps. They put them in capsule form.
Yeah.
Picked up a hitchhiker, gave me a handful of them. It was a wild fear and loathing on the mountain for sure. How about you, Steve?
Gave me a hand. My mind went somewhere else
Me
before
too.
you finished that
Yes.
word with full. And fear and loathing on today of all days, February 20th, 2005. Hunter S. Thompson checked out on this day. So
Today?
Yeah, absolutely. My weekend was good. Unexpected travel for me. Long story short, had a long drive. Got the Chauncey Gorman back in the Twin Cities.
Back.
A long drive, which included a 40-mile stint over black ice in Indiana. That was fun. Nearly catastrophic at one point. But, at the end of the day, though, it's just a small part of a long road trip, and I love a good road trip.
Was it at night or morning?
Yeah, early morning before sunrise. Just all of a sudden, hey, why are all of these cars off in the median and on the right side of the road? Hey, I'm sliding. It was one of those.
What a sight.
Yeah, it was nuts. Otherwise, perfectly without, no big deal whatsoever. But yeah, I love a good roadie. I love a long road trip. So I enjoyed that. All back safe and sound. Very happy to be back on a Tuesday after, as I get, the long holiday weekend. And of course, yesterday lit a candle and thought about, a lot of the U.S. presidents. Was that what we're supposed to do?
Very nice. I salute
in the
you.
bathroom.
Okay, great. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what we did. In a minute or two. I should say in a minute or two, or in a few minutes when we're back. Though we do have some local. We do have to take a moment and talk about what the hell went on at the XL Energy Center yesterday. I think we need to wait But boy, if you are unaware of what the Wild got into yesterday against the Canucks, good God Almighty, what in the world?
The ponytails were flying.
That's exactly right. You have no idea what can happen in a winter sporting environment with more and more ponytails.
Yes, this is what winter sports looks like when it's exciting.
Yeah, it's exactly damn straight. Well, I'm glad to be back, and I hope you guys are glad to be back. God knows the rest of the world really wishes it was another holiday, but let's do this, shall we? Let's just get on with our day. Yesterday, good God Almighty, the Minnesota Wild and the Vancouver Canucks had quite the outing. 17 goals total. Thankfully, 10 for the Wild. They were down by 3 goals in the second period and roared back with 6 unanswered in a span of 5 minutes and 45 seconds.
So
That's
cool.
the most. That's the most prolific explosion in a game in the NHL for 25 years. Yeah. We've got some of the sounds of that very game.
There, darting in left side, Boldy spinning through one in front, they score! Boldy right circle, took a shot, he scores! Zuccarello came out, threw one in front, they score! Out bottom of the right circle, up top Hartman, right back to Zuccarello, thrown in front, they score! It's squeezed loose, Boldy to Zuccarello, tapped up, Kaprizov scores!
Halfway there.
It's a hat trick for Eriksson! On the forecheck, dug it free, spike one in front, they score! Boldy cutting behind the net, threw it in front, Kaprizov scores! To the point by Hronek, left wing corner, Brodin sails into the empty net. He scores! Here's Kaprizov.
Get that guy a lozenge.
He scores!
Sounded like a loop, didn't it?
I mean, that was not highlights from the month of January. That was yesterday. Good Lord.
Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek both with hat tricks.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The Wild are now 2 points within the number 8 spot, so they're still very much in the playoff hunt. They may just squeak in there right now, but I mean, a game like that, it's silly, and at some point you just get off the ice and you just think, I can't believe what just happened. But man, they can feel pretty good about that, and if you're going to start to build some momentum into the final push of the season, that's a hell of a way to do it. Again, 6 goals scored in 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Incredible.
Not bad. Yeah, I mean, normally with the Canucks, you would see that many fists thrown in a game, perhaps, but not that many goals.
Canucks had 7 penalties in the game game, by the way. That's an awful lot. So a tremendous effort, and of course, my favorite my favorite part of the whole thing is in the post game. Minnesota coach John Hines said, "Oh, it was all the guys." Yeah, we know it was all. We know it was on them. I mean, you're coaching, but we know it's the guys. Good job.
I told them to go out there and score 10.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mark of a hell of a coach. What'd you say before the game? I said, guys, we need double digits.
How exciting to be there.
Man.
At some point, it's exciting, but then it is kind of just funny. You're just, what am I watching?
Yeah.
Are these people on Tony's new world antibiotics? Are they tripping or what in the world? I mean, it's like you sometimes see a team score 10 goals. You sometimes see a team score 7, but you don't see 2 teams do it at the same time in the same game.
No.
You'll see some 7-1s and 7-2s and 3s, but 10-7 is just it's like a home run derby. It's just like what in the world? I
don't think I've ever been to a Wild game that's had 2 hat tricks. In one game. From one team. The Wild, 2 hat tricks. Damn. Yeah,
that's like some junior league hockey action, to be sure, right there.
A lot of hats, man, to collect.
Yeah. A whole lot of hats to collect. So, that's good news. Speaking of anything to do with the world of sports, NBA All-Star Weekend, I tried to pay attention. I just could not care less about the NBA All-Star at this point, and the game especially, the actual All-Star game. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns of the T-Wolves had 50 points. No one even pretended to play defense.
Right.
They scored 211 points in the game. It's just an exhibition, and at this point, like the All-Star games across the board have really lost the point. I mean, the NBA All-Star game was initially, they're trying to build the league. They're still trying to promote the league, and they're trying to build superstars. Okay, all these guys are already superstars. They're all making the most money of any pro athletes, and they all have social media. And anybody in that game, no one's trying to build a brand with an all-star game. In the 70s and 80s, that made sense. So it's just it's high time they just go straight to I think all the All-Star games share a common no one really cares. So just turn it into tug of war or ping pong or do the old superstars, the old ABC superstars game.
The NFL is kind of getting it right now. They made that transition.
Who is?
The NFL.
Yeah, they're doing skills challenge, they're doing fun stuff. I would love to see for the NBA All-Stars, you're talking about just a bunch of giants. Put them in let me see an egg toss. Let me, let me see.
Sack race. Let's get a sack race going.
The sack race is great. The three-legged race is great. I want to see the bat race where they spin around.
Yes.
And then have to dribble a basketball from end to end.
That's hilarious.
Some of that.
Right, it's something entertaining because the skill stuff for the NFL during the Pro Bowl week there sucked hard.
Yeah. They did have dodgeball, which was cool. Watching NFL players try to crush each other's vertebra with those red balls was fun. Maybe the NBA All-Star game. Maybe everyone shoots with their opposite hand. Like you can only shoot left-handed.
That'd be funny.
But for the odd lefty, you can only shoot with the right hand. Let me see what they got in that case. Or put their shoes on the wrong feet. Just right foot, right shoe on the right foot, left foot. I mean, something. Make it interesting. Come on, crying out loud. Those games used to matter, and now they don't. And I mean, I'm a basketball fanatic, and the T-Wolves are killing it this year, and I was excited to see it. And I'm like, what am I watching? I mean, it's just like going to the YMCA, watching a bunch of old retired lawyers not play defense. It's ridiculous, man. But, hey, what am I? That's why, you always hear people, there needs to be a sports czar. You know what I mean? One guy needs to sit and overlook all the sports. Like, stop doing that. That's not good.
I think baseball tried to make it interesting there for a bit. Didn't they put something that in the World Series you get one or somebody gets a home? I know they put some stake in it as well. But
the winner, the side that won, like if the American League won, then the American League team would then host the World Series.
Yeah.
I was doing sports radio then. I got so angry about that. It just meant nothing. It was such an art. It's no different than a coin toss for who gets home field. So,
yeah, right.
If you have a better record, but a bunch of guys that don't play for either team in the World Series competed at a game in July, and whoever had a determining factor in where the World Series would be hosted, it used to just make me crazy. Back when things like that would really make me crazy. I'm over it now. This stuff doesn't bother me in the least, as you can clearly tell.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we did miss over the weekend, the big People's Choice Awards, my favorite award show season. Love it. So many clips to share this morning. It might eat up a lot of the morning. Thankfully, we have Mike Evans' Hollywood Report with total coverage of the People's Choice Awards coming here at the bottom of the hour. Please don't miss this. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, February the 20th. Zepp, you mentioned the People's Choice Awards went down over the weekend. Yeah. This person chose not to watch, so I'm excited to hear all about it. Let's go to the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Steve, and Zepp, and Candace, and Tony. And this report brought to you by Marcus Theaters. It's Tuesday, $6 specials at Marcus Theaters. What a great day following President's Day to go to a movie at Marcus Theaters. So I'm going to be on the road all week long, so you'll be getting the regular reports, but I'll be in different cities. And I got to thinking, with spring breaks and summer vacations being planned, this may be a little unusual report, but I saw this new list that caught my eye, and I wanted to share it with you. The 5 most dangerous airports in the United States. Maybe you might want to avoid them. I thought it was interesting. Number 5, San Diego International Airport. The reason, very narrow approach, and it is directly over downtown San Diego. Back in the day when I was with the LA Dodgers, and they had their own jet, I would ask to sit in the cockpit jump seat when landing in San Diego when we played the Padres. And I'll tell you what, planes landing there come within a couple hundred feet of those high-rise downtown buildings. It's scary. Number 4, most dangerous airport, Sitka Airport in Alaska. I've never been to Alaska, so I don't know what to tell you. You might want to avoid that. Number 3, most dangerous airport, Midway Airport on Chicago's south side, right off
Dangerous
Cicero.
in the airport.
FAA says short, crisscrossing runways, short, slippery runways, heavy traffic is a problem. No need. I'll go to O'Hare. Thank you very much. Number 2 most dangerous airport, John Wayne Airport, Orange County, California. FAA says too close to residential area and calls for steeper approach and takeoffs. Also, a lot of private aircraft and commercial aircraft use John Wayne.
What?
On December 15th, 1993, Rich Snyder, the creator and owner of In-N-Out Burgers, was landing his small plane and following a 757 commercial jet. Neither Rich didn't hear it or he just didn't follow the air traffic controller's warning, wake turbulence following 757 jet.
Wow.
Rich got his plane too close on final approach, and the turbulence of that 757 flipped his plane. It crashed, killing him and the 2 other passengers aboard. This is the owner of the fabulous, fantastic In-N-Out Burger chain.
Well, don't fret about that,
must be a
Pilgrim.
little strange there, too, because on February 13th, 2017, Harrison Ford was landing at John Wayne, and, well, he didn't land on the runway. He landed on a taxiway. Well, that's not good. Number 1 most dangerous airport in the United States, Aspen, Colorado. Weather changes in minutes, very short runways and takeoffs and landings, sometimes in opposite directions. Well, there you go. Hey, have a great day. Be in St. Louis. Do that report from St. Louis tomorrow. Mike Evans. See you.
Wow. Man,
Solid, very safe airport. I suspect he'll make it safely. There he goes. Mike Evans.
Man, those People's Choice Awards must have been lit, huh?
Well, I will say the one thing, I did not watch it either. I didn't even know it was on. I mean, there's a lot of damn award shows every year. I'm a little stymied, but I thought Adam Sandler probably stole it from the highlights.
Okay.
Yeah, he got the People's Icon Award, So it's kind of a gimme award, but that's not the award he thought he was getting.
So when my agent called me and said I won the People's Choice Icon Award, I think I misheard him. I thought he said, "Congratulations, Adam, you won the People Magazine Sexiest Man Alive." So I wrote a speech for that. I would like to say thank you for recognizing me as the man who made our entire country the horniest this year.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough.
That was fun.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Real quick, I will note, I flew in and out of Aspen, Colorado once, and to Mike Evans's credit, scary as hell.
Is it?
Yeah, the runway is like 100 feet long.
Yeah, those when they try to force them into those mountains, like Jackson Hole's another one. It's a hole in the mountains.
Yeah.
That's the name. Well, what's her face? The actress, I'm forgetting now. I want to say Bernadette Peters, but she's half her age.
Okay.
Was in a movie Speed with Keanu Reeves.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
That funny face of hers. She crash landed in Jackson Hole.
Did she really?
Yeah, right off the runway.
Fair enough.
It's got to kind of circle down in there, corkscrew down into the runway.
I played a round of golf in Jackson Hole in 2008 on my birthday, of all things, and on the course several times during the round of play, on a golf cart. And we'd cross like a street, it kind of crosses over. There's actual roads, and you have the right of way as a golf cart. Sometimes there's a little bridge or a little tunnel. Sometimes you just cross a street. But every time you'd enter one of those little areas, the golf cart would be stopped and searched with mirrors underneath by Secret Service agents because Dick Cheney lived on that golf course, and they searched our golf cart like 3 different times in a round of golf. And then as we were on the 18th green, we looked over, and there was a house right there. That was his house. And every balcony and every there was just 38 guys in suits, not at all trying not to look like Secret Service agents. And I was like, well, I guess he's here.
Yeah.
Huh.
Geez, a little paranoid dick.
Yeah, man, I tell you, it's like I'm trying to play golf here, and you have security concerns, and I think that I'm just trying to play golf, okay? And if you think that's a terrorist act, then maybe maybe I've had better days on the links. But
the way I play,
give me
sometimes.
a break here. Let's look back.
Today, on this day,
nothing happened. Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. So what happened?
What is it, Steve?
Oh, here's some stuff that happened. On this day in the year 2000, the New York Mets opened up their spring training with Garth Brooks on the field. Garth Brooks, for the third time in his life, spent spring training trying to make a major league roster. He had done it the 2 previous years with the San Diego Padres. They didn't offer him a chance to come back, so he went to the Mets in 2000. He hung with the New York Mets through spring training, 17 at-bats. 0 for 17. By the time you're 0 for 7, most guys would be like, yeah, maybe I'm not quite the athlete I was 20 years ago. And then, by the way, 4 years later, tried again with the Royals. I mean, Garth, I get it. You've done all there is to do in country music, but baseball is not really. That's just Michael Jordan couldn't do it. I don't know why you thought you could.
Maybe the Saints be a good place for him.
That's a good point. Possibly. 1997, Barry Bonds signed with the Giants a 2-year deal for $22.9 million for 2 years. And that was a record at the time. And it was one of those signs that, oh, my God, we've all lost the plot. $22.9 million for 2 seasons. What a difference a quarter of a century makes. Shohei Ohtani just signed with the Dodgers for $700 million for 10 years. God. Yeah, Barry Bonds, every time someone signs a new deal, he just wakes up in the middle of the night screaming at the walls.
That's probably the steroids.
Allegedly.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, February the 20th. In about an hour, we're going to be giving away tickets to see Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. He's won a few Grammys, and she's won a boatload. She's got over 30 Grammys in her career. Bluegrass legend, and then with Robert Plant every now and again gets up and does something a little different, and it's great. They're playing the Mystic Amphitheater Friday, June 7th, and we're going to give away tickets, as I said, an hour from right now. I go to the grocery store pretty regularly. Because, I like to eat food and they sell it to me. So then I take it home and I make it, and it's kind of a nice thing.
It works.
I was on a tear the last 5-6 years of my life, and I would always mention it, and I think I jinxed myself to. It was like a rabbit hole or a wormhole where, because I would openly complain, it kept happening. This same thing at the grocery store, and that is this. I invariably, if I'm in line at the grocery store and there's one person in there with a checkbook and a pen, I'm going to be right behind that person.
Oh, of course.
I kid you not. I was on a roll where every third or fourth time to the grocery store, I would be behind the guy writing or the gal writing a check. And I'm just like, I get it. I mean, I'm not whatever. You want to do things the way you want to do them. It's fine. But what I noticed was the people who are still writing checks are the people who take forever. It's as if they've never written one. And I watch them, and it's like, now where do I put my signature? Is that? Oh, it's down here. And then the number I put. Wait, hey, these are digits, and then here's letters where I write out what the number is. It's like they're reminding themselves how to write the check every time.
And they wait for the total to be given, and then they reach in to take out the checkbook. They don't pre-write anything.
If I were bringing a checkbook to a grocery store, I'd have it filled out before I walked in, except for the dollar amount. That'd be it. But that's just me, because I'm a hell of a guy. I'm great, especially up here on my high horse. But no, I'm just constantly going, if I would just, but I can't help it. Then I have to tell someone, I was behind a check again. And then it happens again, and it happens again. It can be an incredibly annoying thing. I heard a podcast a couple years ago, and I don't even remember which podcast it was, but I was listening to an interview with a guy who'd been in prison for years, and then he was out, and they were asking him, what's it like to adjust back to normal society? And he wasn't talking about, the internet's crazy or iPhones or anything, because he'd been away for 20 years. Mm-hmm. He said you get so used to body space and how important that is to honor. And he goes, when I'm at the grocery store, because people walk up and they get right behind you in line. He goes, and it makes me nuts. And I'll say, give me a few feet. And as soon as I heard that, I noticed it. It's like, yeah, when you're in line at the grocery store, it's like if the person behind you doesn't have a cart, they will get right up on you. And it's like, yo, man, what you can take a couple steps once there's clearance.
Right.
And I've never been in prison, but listening to that one podcast, I turned into give me a little gap here, bud. Drives me nuts. And then the people they don't understand how big their grocery cart is, and they'll literally, I'm sorry, and they run into your ass with the cart. Like,
yes,
what? I'm standing still.
Trying to meet you, though. That's a technique.
Good luck out in the parking lot, for crying out loud. You can't navigate a shopping cart inside the store, and you're going to drive these groceries home. Good luck to all of us out there. I don't like the person who lingers, but first of all, they always park their cart in the middle of the aisle, and then they'll stand there looking at the spaghetti sauces. I'm like, all right, these have sugar and these don't. Pick one. What are we going with, a marinara? Maybe a nice puttanesca? Pick a damn jar of sauce so that I may pass, or also get my jar of sauce. But they read all the ingredients. I get the ingredient readers all the time. They're going over everything. I'm like, it's all crap. It's all processed. Just put it in your cart or go over to the fancy, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, the fancier aisle where everything's farm-fed or whatever. Organic aisle.
The fancy aisle.
Go over to the fancy aisle where you'll pay a few more bucks for that jar. That's the good stuff over there. This is where the poor people shop. Just grab one and keep moving.
Man.
The pacing and space thing changed for a little bit around COVID. And you'd have those little diagrams of feet on the floor where you're supposed to stand.
I like that about COVID, the spacing thing. I wish we still had COVID just for that reason alone.
The first time I went to a grocery store when it was knee deep in the shutdown. So, everybody stayed home for a while, and then you got to start making your quick runs out. But I walked into a grocery store, and they had every aisle had become a one-way aisle. Like there was big arrows at the any aisle you entered, the arrow would either be coming towards you, meaning don't walk in this way, or go that way. It's like, so you would just go, so you didn't have anybody meeting head to head. And it's amazing how no one on earth looks down at the grocery store because nobody ever paid attention. Everything had gone to one way, back and forth. And I would just stand there and I'd be like, a couple times I'd look down and point and like, hey, man, do you see this arrow? And everybody's like, I didn't see it. But they're just like, I don't care. I got to get out of here before I get sick. It was really a bizarre time at the grocery store. And I couldn't get on the high horse too much then because we were all uncomfortable and freaking out. What are you going to do? I'm a big fan of. I've always been a big fan of bagging my own groceries. If that option's there, I take it every time because I'm just, as a Tetris champion, I'm way better at that than the average kid who's just like, stoned and trying to earn up a little extra money for more weed. My God! But so I have a problem with that. But woe be to you if you put Rosemary Gorman's chips at the bottom of a bag or put the eggs in the middle of a bag somewhere. Or if you don't, at least ask, do you want the meat wrapped separately?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's got some grocery protocols, man. Don't cross those lines.
You know what keeps screwing that up for me? I'm not a big on. I'll bag it myself. I've got it. I'm only going in. I'm getting like 5 or 6 things. I'm usually going through the self-checkout anyway. But sometimes, during the day, hey, there's no one here in line. I'll have it professionally checked out at my fancy grocery store that I like to go to here locally. And they bag it for you. But it's the middle of the day. That's when we're shopping, right? Who's bagging? The senior citizen that I assume volunteered to come down and bag, and I'll just be sitting there for a good several minutes, like I just, you can just toss it all in the bag. You don't have to wrap my meat separately. But yeah, they're just, and they put one in, and then they look in there for a minute. Nope, I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to put this one in, and then I'll put that, I'm like, we're good enough. It's just, let's go. Here we go.
Or if they comment on each individual piece to it. This would go good with cottage cheese, am I right?
Do not get into a conversation at the checkout line. I don't care if I'm the only person behind you and there's not a bunch of people. They'll just sit there and chit-chat. Back and forth. I'm like, cha-cha. I got a life to lead here, Aunt B.
We're trying to get in. We're trying to get out. I like targeted strikes. I never enter a store if I don't have a list. No way. I am not wandering. I am getting a list. I'm checking it twice, and then I'm getting the hell out of there. 651-98-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Candace, do we have a caller?
Yes. John from Brooklyn Park.
John, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What do you got for us?
My biggest pet peeve is somebody on their telephone at the cash register.
Sure.
I would like to just strangle them.
I would say don't strangle them, but don't think twice about stepping on their foot and then saying it's an accident. You know what I mean?
I could possibly do that. I think I'll try that next time.
Yeah, give it a shot. Just you don't have to stomp it. You just enough to make them notice. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there on your phone. You know, say things like that. Thanks for the call, John. We appreciate it. My favorite, the grocery store my wife and I went to for years, our families, right down the street in Nashville, back in the Music City days. There was a store. It's called Publix. It's a big chain down there. Started out in Florida. I used to go to Publix when you'd go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
That was and then one day I'm like, why is there a Publix in Tennessee? There's no beach nearby. There's something wrong with this. But anyway, it's a nice place, good people and whatnot. There's a guy there who bags groceries. Who's an older. I mean, he's like a middle-aged man, and he just kind of, you'll see him out in the parking lot getting the carts. You'll see him bagging groceries, and he wears those big gold frame like Elvis sunglasses, and he's just a different kind of cat. He's just cut from his own cloth. And he will be having conversations with customers that blow my mind. I've overheard this guy on several occasions. The first time I ever engaged with him, the woman in front of me was wearing a Bad Boys, Detroit Pistons late 80s Bad Boys t-shirt. And he's bagging her groceries. And this guy goes, oh, I love those Bad Boys teams. And she's like, yeah, I'm actually a Hawks fan. This is this is my husband's T-shirt. He goes, well, the Hawks were great, too, back then. Dominique and Spud Webb. And he starts, so suddenly it's a late 80s NBA conversation right in my wheelhouse. And I'm like, oh, man, I was in Atlanta then. Those Hawks teams were great. And so we all have a little chit-chat. And then the guy stops bagging. He goes, well, you know who I always said was the best one from back in those days. I mean, for my money. And I'm like, oh, this will be great. He's going to say like Marcus Johnson of the Bucks or some Mark Aguirre in his prime. And so, and the cashier, the woman next to me, and me, all three of us go, oh, who's that? And he just looks at us and goes, Michael Jordan.
Okay.
And we all went, he was the best? He goes, yeah. And we're like, yeah. No kidding. It's like, dude, you set it up as if you were going to come out of left field with that one. Oh, you know who I always thought was the best? Yeah, you and every other human. It was great. and that same guy, I kid you not, I was walking out into the parking lot, and he was taking a woman's groceries out in the cart, an older woman. And she is just, and as I walk up behind them, we're all exiting at the same time, she's going, I don't know. I just never thought in a million years I'd be having these kind of conversations. And this is what he said. Well, I'll tell you, a lot of times when a man, when that first baby comes to a family, the man, he's jealous. He misses all that attention, and he turns away. And your daughter, it's not uncommon, and she just has to look at him and say, look, but I get the attention now, and the baby, you're not first place anymore. And I'm like, wait, you're giving this woman's daughter just had a baby, and her husband's being absent, and she's coming to the guy bagging groceries for advice? It was incredible.
That's great.
And he's made some really salient points, and I listened to the conversation for 60 seconds, and I was like, I gotta get my groceries bagged by this guy a little more often. Anyway, whatever that guy is right now, man, he's out there probably making some pretty good points and giving Michael Jordan credit and the Beatles for being good at what they do.
I was wondering what Dr. Phil was up to these days.
That's exactly. Hey, here's the thing, it's just straight up disrespect. If you're not gonna put a plastic bag around that ground beef, you're telling her salmonella's your business.
Oh, to jerk a knot in your tail.
I'd love to see Dr. Phil bagging groceries. The other thing, the last grocery store thing that's just crazy to me, and it's crazy. It happens to all of us. But when somebody either you send your shopping partner or you just leave your cart because you forgot one thing, and you just go back, that's me chewing. That makes me want to chew aluminum foil. I mean, that's what it makes me feel like, because I'm like, how do you think it's okay for the cashier to be halfway through your cart and you just suddenly go, oh, the sour cream, and you turn around and just run?
Right.
There's never been a time in history. It's like flushing the toilet when you start to pee. You're not going to beat it.
No, timing's never right.
It's going to flush, and you're still going to be peeing.
Not anymore, I'm not, for sure.
Exactly. Why do you think you're going to get back with that sour cream before the guy's ready to check you out? Makes me nuts, man. I mean, literally, we could talk about geopolitical, the world-ending climate, whatever controversial topic you want to talk about. I get more wound up about the guy running for the sour cream than anything else in the world.
I got no big fight with someone I was dating one time because she was making a dash for something. I said, okay, well, about halfway done. You know where it's at? Hurry. And she wasn't back when they were done ringing them up. I said, you know what? Just bring it up. We're good. Let's get them done. I bagged it up, grabbed all my stuff. The next person in line is now checking out when she comes running back with the cheese slices. She goes, sorry, that took longer than I thought. I was like, that's okay. She goes, what? I already paid for everything. You just have to jump back in line and then get that one thing, and then we can go. If you want, I'll jump back in line. If you want to sit with the groceries for a couple. Why did you check out? Well, because the next person was ready. I didn't want to hold up the line. And we got into a whole pissing match about it there for a little while. And I don't even know if I got any of those cheese slices now that I think about it.
Yeah, you didn't stand up for her. You don't deserve it.
Whether you want to admit it or not, grocery shopping is a team sport, and you're playing it with strangers. Act accordingly.
Nope. Yeah, right, exactly. Spatial awareness. I love a good piece of audio. College baseball player. We talked about the Wild putting up 10, 2 hat tricks in one game against the Canucks. Fantastic finish for the Wild. This is a piece of audio. College baseball player gets hit by a pitch. How many times do you think you can get hit by a pitch in a baseball game? What would be an odd, crazy number to get beamed in one game?
Anything over once is what I would say, because you hit me once, it ain't happening again, trust me.
This will blow your mind. You're not going to come up with this number. I will tell you exactly. It won't be long, about 10, 15 minutes. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, and Candace is laughing at me. What is so funny?
I was just trying to freak you out by staring at you.
Oh, is that what it was?
Silly Steve.
You were not phased at all.
I was not phased at all. I've gotten very accustomed to you being weird as hell. Hey, so the Daytona 500 happened yesterday, apparently. First I've heard of it. I just don't pay attention to racing. Not that I don't enjoy it if it is on. Apparently it was a delayed race. They had to start late. What, weather? What was happening?
Yeah, it was a big rain out on Sunday. The Daytona 500, the kickoff of the season. And it was a gully washer. So, yeah, they ran it yesterday. William Byron ends up winning the whole thing. The number 24 car, first win for Hendricks Motorsports since 2014.
William Byron does not sound like a NASCAR driver. That sounds like a Shakespearean era. That sounds like a guy who wrote poetry.
Yeah, a poet.
Right. Sounds like a guy that grew up playing video games before he jumped behind the wheel, which he did. iRacing online. He credited all to that.
I can't believe it, man. It's this is incredible. I had a much different background than anybody in the sport. Growing up racing on iRacing on the computer, and to make it to the Daytona 500 and win the race is pretty amazing. So honestly, it hasn't really sunk in. It's the craziest race. I mean, we're 2 and 3 wide all day. It takes everything.
Yeah, we got it.
Wow. Okay, fair enough. That's the subject. Wasn't there a movie that came out last year where a kid was like a great video game racer, and then they give him a chance, and he ends up racing a Formula One?
Gran Turismo.
Yeah. That's exactly what that guy said. And his name is William Byron. I mean, go with Bill Byron, Billy Byron. That sounds like a NASCAR name. William Byron sounds like surely some revelation is at hand.
Yes.
Like they just don't expect him to speak about playing video games. Troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of a desert, the heart of a man beats wildly, unrecompensed, or some nonsense like that.
Yeah.
What if he got out and was quoting poetry like that, or just making up his own? I guess that'd be great. Do you follow NASCAR ever? Anybody? Zep?
I have over the years. I mean, I'm not going to get into a conversation with someone that follows NASCAR.
Sure.
Nothing like that.
Well, have you been to a race in person?
Yes, I have been to several races in person, yeah.
I went once, it's weird because I never went back, but man, I loved every second of it. I couldn't believe how blown away I was by the experience.
Loud and fast and cool.
I'm the guy going in there going,
I don't know what Candace was doing, but your car racing is cool.
That was spot on.
It was spot on.
Spot on what?
The sound of the cars.
Maybe on Speed Racer. I'm the guy who was going there going, okay, yeah, they're fast and they're loud, whoop-de-doo. Yeah. And when that green flag went and they all punched the gas pedal at the same time, and I saw a bunch of cars who were already going fast immediately go really fast, and it sounded like 5 million B-52s were flying overhead. I, like everyone else, was going, oh my God! I couldn't believe it. And as they approached the first turn, I had a real out-of-body experience watching these cars sprinting down at the start of the race, and as they were coming to the first curve, they weren't slowing down.
No way.
And in person, seeing it for the first time, you just have such in your mind, you're like, oh, well, surely they're going to slow down. Mm-hmm. No, they're still accelerating into the curve. And I had an overwhelming sense that I'm about to watch 32 men die right now. And they just kept on going through the curve. It was exhilarating beyond, and it was crazy. I was like, I'm the only guy here who does not get what's happening.
Yeah, they don't signal their turn either when they're
none of that.
It.
Not a bit of that. No.
Just keep the left on. But they had a big 21 car crash yesterday. Daytona's always good for one of those super crashes, and they certainly had one yesterday. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but there you go. The Daytona 500 NASCAR season is underway.
That's it. You mentioned that college baseball season is underway, of course. And I believe somebody may have, if not set a record, certainly set a record for this show over the weekend.
College, Matt Massiangelo, Sacramento State out there, so they're playing in the Southwest League, has already got started because the Southwest. I said Southwest, right?
Yep.
Because it's nice and warm down there. See if you can count how many times Matt Massiangelo, making his debut, by the way, for the Sacramento State Hornets, gets beaned in this doubleheader.
First pitch just hit. Massiangelo hit for the second time. This one skips in and it got him again. May have got him on the bounce before it hit him this time, but Massiangelo was hit for the third time today. And he just got hit again. That's the fourth time he's been hit today. And he just got hit again. You really can't make these stories up. How was your debut as a Hornet? I got hit by a pitch 5 times. Did he just get hit again? He did. The first pitch just got hit again. That's an RBI, so congratulations on your first RBI as a Hornet, but he just got hit again, and that hit him. Massiangelo got hit again, so now that is 8 times in 9 at-bats.
Yeah, 7 times in his first 8 at-bats in the first game, and then his leadoff actually at-bat in the doubleheader got beaned again to bring in a run. Bases were loaded that one time, so they weren't trying to hit him. This kid can't get out of the way.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, do we have any dimensions we should share? How big, how large a man are we talking about?
Seems to be a fairly average size.
God.
I mean, a little stocky and short, actually, but and it's not like he's really crowding the base. I mean, he's in the box, obviously, but you know how you can toe up the box and really crowd the plate, then the umpire will give you the pitcher will give you the brush back. But no, and a variety of places. They hit him up top, they hit him down low, hit him in the side, the elbow. I mean, this kid is
it's like they put all the names of the opponents into a hopper and they pulled one name out. All right, hit him, just hit him every time.
Or his teammates put a little post-it note on him saying "Bean me."
That's it. I got hit once in Little League one time and made damn sure not to let that happen again. I mean, and it hit me right in the shoulder. It could have been anywhere worse. Anywhere else would have been worse. But it was so jarring. It scared me. I mean, I was terrified the next 5-6 times I got in the batter's box. Of course, and my coach is like, "Well, get in there, lean in," and I'm just like, "No, I'm good, man. I'm just gonna take one way out to the outside if I swing."
I probably have the only distinction of a midget baseball player out there being. I think midgets was, I think it was probably 7th, 8th grade. So probably we had peewees, midgets, and then on to Teener and Legion Ball and all that good stuff. But a strike right over my back. Because the coach said, he goes, this guy, crowd the plate, this guy's throwing inside, he's going to pitch you inside, and I want you to take a bean and take the hit if you can and get on base. I'm like, I can hit this pitcher. No, just take the bean. And I leaned in so far when he threw the pitch that I fell on top of the plate, and the pitch went over my back for a strike. They counted it as a strike. I was never so embarrassed. I never tried to get beamed again.
That's
but I also hit a grand slam in that game, so I was redeemed.
It all comes out.
A grand slam, by the way, a grand slam with 4 errors on their part, where they tried to throw it in, drop the ball, the second baseman, then
that was my only question. Was it?
Yeah.
How many times? How many times did the opposing coach slap his own forehead?
It was a looper into center field. But being that age, a lot of errors got you around the plate.
I imagine when people come to this country for the first time, if they turn on a baseball game, they must look at it and go, "What on earth is happening?" I mean, you can pick up basketball or football or hockey, anything with constant action, you can figure that out pretty quickly. But baseball, to someone who's never seen it, must just look. In fact, I've talked to people who are like, I've watched 9 games. I have no idea what's going on. I mean, not unlike cricket. If you're watching cricket, you're like, what is happening? But, televised sports from around the world, most of them you click in on and can make some kind of sense of it. But my favorite ever moment of watching something on TV for the first time was a BBC broadcast. I was in England in the early 90s, and they were just showing live darts. And I was like, what? Because I didn't realize dart was an actual sport. Sure. I thought it was just a drunk thing you do in a bar. Yeah. And it was a full-on competition. There were 5,000 people there watching 2 guys throw darts and they're drinking beer in between, and they never miss. They're just running the board. And I just thought it was hilarious. My first thing was, this is so funny. And then literally 49 minutes later, I haven't moved. I'm so riveted watching. And at some point, a guy made a big run and he had to get like 3 treble 16s, and he hit them all, and the place erupted. And the announcer, I'll never forget, he goes, "And that's what makes darts such a great spectator sport." And I was like, it really is. It really is a great spectator sport. And then the World Dart Championships, recently, a guy named Darren Webster, English guy, was beaten by a Dutchman named Niels Zonneveld. Not happy about the result, and went to Facebook to explain. And here is Darren Webster's explanation. This is a quote. He goes, when you play a guy who farts and stinks the stage out and then denies it, then kick you when you're playing the stall every time you throw because they are blank, good luck for the future, I'm not even interested, rant over. So, he was obviously drunk when he wrote that. But the point that I got is that he accused his competitor of farting up the stall.
Hey. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Strategy.
Are you telling me that people throwing darts in pubs aren't just farting up and down a storm? Of course they are. Man. The guy's just keeping it real is what that's called.
Yeah, right.
Man, it is really compelling, though, to watch, because you seriously start thinking about it and you're like, okay, darts is, we all know someone who's good at darts, but like that level where these guys have grown up and you are just, you're half in the bag. And you're just running that board. It's the kind of thing where, and I've seen people that are really good at darts, and you can just look at a dartboard and say, hit the double line 4, and they don't even think twice. It's just thunk, and it's right there every time. And you just think, how on earth, how drunk do you have to be every day of your life to be good at darts?
I like to talk a big game up before I play darts and say I'm so good at darts. You guys are going to be you're screwed. And then I just totally...
and then it doesn't really work.
It bounces off the little awning thing on the top, Wings, do you ever play, Candace, you ever play with real darts, not the plastic ones, but, the pointy metal ones?
The magnet ones.
Dangerous.
Yeah, that does get a little dangerous, whipping those around the bar.
I got into darts briefly when I was on tour. I was touring with a Welsh band, Stereophonics, and I was kind of enjoying darts. And then one day, Rosemary, just being sweet and thoughtful, she's got me a set of darts. Like, you're kind of like this now. And I literally could never take them into a pub. Just felt like the biggest poser douchebag.
Your little case with your engraved initials on it.
When I first got it, I was like, oh, this is cool because I'll have the same weight every time. It'll really help my game. That's what I'm thinking. And then I'm like, she's like, we used to go to this great pub called the Sherlock Holmes. She goes, oh, you should bring your darts. And I was like, as soon as she said that, I went, oh my God, I could never do it. I'm sorry. I can't walk in there with my own darts. Someone will throw a dart into my face if I do that, and I will have earned it.
If you open up your little dart case, you better be be able to whip those darts.
Yeah.
That's like, I had a similar experience, but with pool. And on Father's Day, the kids got me one of those fancy pool cues. You screw together. It comes in the case like a Minnesota Fats. But I'm not walking in with that thing. And I'd tell them I was using it all the time. But no, I can't walk in and pull it out of the case and screw it together and start to hustle someone. I don't shoot pool well enough to bring my own pool stick in. It's nice, though, it's straight.
The only pool shtick I can ever run is pool is one thing for whatever reason. I do it left-handed. Well, I did everything. I think I was left-handed. I would always immediately try. And my dad was one of those guys who'd say, switch hands, put it in your right hand, because he was obviously from the 1800s. But I shoot pool left-handed. And so I've always done that. And there are times when I'll be playing with somebody, and after a few games, I'll go, do you want me to start playing right-handed now? And then they'll be like, oh, my God, no way. I'm like, no, it's fine. I'll stay with the left. Yeah, keep it fair, but I can't shoot pool with my right hand to save my life. But because I'm right-handed, it makes everyone assumes I'm just toying with them by playing from the left.
Yeah, I'm right-handed, but I shoot everything left-handed.
Really?
Everything.
Well, aren't you just a little bell of the ball?
Aren't you ambidextrous?
No, it's because my eyes are messed up.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't say she did it well.
I don't really know how to connect any of those dots. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Candace, do we have a caller?
Rich from Red Wing.
Rich, good morning, sir.
Morning.
What's up, brother?
Remember back when I was in about 4th grade, never played baseball or pitched or anything like that ever in my whole life.
Right.
First game, they put me in as pitcher, and the guy who was hitting, he was like a 6th grader, and he hit the ball, and he hit me right in the nuts.
Oh, you gotta have your cup on
the ground, and I didn't get up for a long time.
Didn't the coach do the cup check before the game?
After the words, I didn't know who the guy was who hit. And I thought about it for years and years, never knew who the guy was. Till about probably 25 years later, one day in the grocery store, a guy comes up, he says, Rich, remember me? I said, no. He says, well, I'm the guy that hit you with that line drive right in your junk. So he says,
been waiting 25 years for that.
I healed up.
Yeah.
I've been waiting a long time to see your junk again, man. Good to see you. How you been?
Yeah.
That's a rough one. Hey, thank you for listening, and thank you for the call, brother. That just reminded me, I moved to Kentucky in 5th grade. I grew up in Maryland, and I played soccer. That was my only sport. I played 1 year Little League, hated it, but soccer was my thing. And when you move to Kentucky, they just hand you a basketball. It's like, here, this is all we care about. But so in my school, Booker T. Washington Middle School, 5th and 6th graders only, weird system there. We had a basketball tournament. Every class had to have a team, and I had to play basketball, which I'd never played organized basketball. I played horse in the driveway. My older brother was a college basketball player, but I hadn't started playing yet. But we lined up to do a free throw, and the ref had to tell me which position to be in. I mean, I was clueless out there. And my teammate shot a free throw, and it hit the front of the rim and bounced, and it was coming right to me. And nobody reached for it because it wasn't going in. There was going to be a second free throw. So, nobody's going for the rebound. And the ball comes right to me, and I just thought it would be cool as hell, and it was, to head the ball back to my teammate. It came off the rim, and as a soccer player, I just went boom and headed it right to him at the free throw line. Well, the whole gym thought it just hit me in the head accidentally. Yeah. And everybody laughed like there was no tomorrow. And my first thought was, I'm the coolest guy. And then I realized they're laughing at me and mocking me. And I was the idiot whose ball hit him in the head. Yeah. And I was going, I play soccer, you bunch of rednecks, and nobody believed me, and it was horrifying.
I meant to do that.
I've never done anything that cool in my life, and you guys are laughing at me. I'll show you.
I'm sorry.
It was rough. These things happen. I'm over it now, though.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a story which I just have to share because I'm going to switch gears, but I'm just so damned happy about this. There was a wildfire in California, September of 2020, and it was a bad one. 20 buildings, 5 homes, 13 people injured, and a firefighter lost his life fighting this wildfire. Yeah, you can't get the buildings back. You certainly can't get that gentleman's life back. But the couple responsible are going to pay $1.8 million in restitution to the victims of the fire. It's known as the El Dorado fire. Why are two people paying $1.8 million? They weren't camping, and they didn't, it's not like they forgot to stamp out their little forest fire. It wasn't a cigarette butt. Oops. No. It was a gender reveal party gone wrong.
Morons.
With fireworks in the California desert in the summer. Gender reveal gone wrong with fireworks. Massive fire kicks up. And then again, as I said, not only a loss of a lot of buildings and a lot of property, but a firefighter lost his life. $1.8 million in restitution.
Wow. I hope this is one of those things where they, I don't know if this is a rich couple. My guess is they're probably not. So they can't just write a check for $1.8 million, but that they have to, give that money up for a very long time. Maybe the rest of their lives. They're going to have to live paycheck to paycheck to pay these people back some money, this restitution money. Gender reveal out in the forest with fire. Good call.
If you are out west, 11 out of every 12 months, you are there's everywhere you look. It's like, hey, fire hazard, dry as hell. Yeah. Don't do this. Fireworks. I mean, if it was fireworks for the 4th of July, I'd still be pissed. But the fact that it was a gender reveal thing, just because those grind my gears to begin with. The idea that that like nobody knows. I mean, I just hate everything about it. But it starts from the beginning of somebody finds out and keeps it from the couple. Why? I will get old man on my porch shaking my fist at the clouds real fast when it comes to gender reveal parties.
Yeah, I mean, this one was a tragedy. Ended up in a tragedy, but there are gender reveal fails on YouTube. Pigeons being dyed bright pink. Pregnant woman being struck with a baseball bat because the drunk guys were out there trying to hit a ball. Yeah. There was a plane crash. I think someone ended up dying in a plane crash. Cannon explosions.
Yeah, the plane crash was just a coincidental. I mean, it just so happened that the plane's wing fell off as it rolled over and started blasting out pink smoke. Not caused by the pink smoke, of course.
No,
but caused by the pink smoke. We all know. I mean, it's at some point the world's karmic forces all align and go, another one of these parties, we got to stop this.
No.
I'm a big fan of, just trying to keep it real. Hey, man, celebrate when that baby's born healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all that matters.
We're just kidding ourselves to think that pregnancy is like going to get a tooth pulled out. It's just, that's all I know. It's not as easy as it seems.
Right. All right, game show time, boys and girls. Right now on the KQ92 Talk and Text line, callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing Trust Us. For tickets to Robert Plant, Allison Krauss, Friday, June 7th at the Mystic Amphitheater. Prize provided by Mystic Lake Casino. Our runner-up today, Lita Ford, Saturday at the Medina. Prize provided by the Medina Entertainment Center. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up, good luck, and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In just a few moments, we're going to give away some tickets to see Robert Plant with Allison Krauss. Before that, I would like to share with you a story from England. A drunk driver over the weekend called emergency dispatch. I'm sorry, this was just yesterday. Called dispatch to report that he himself was driving drunk. Midday, guy called and he said, "I don't know what I'm doing." Oh. And the 911 operator goes, "Well, where are you?" He goes, "I'm in my car and I'm driving and I'm drunk and I don't know what I'm doing." But he knew enough to call 911 on himself. He was the drunk driver, or as they say over there, the drink driver, which is I think that's kind of better. Drink driving, because drink. If it's drink driving, is less leeway. It's like, no, you may be drunk or not, but you're drinking, and that's bad enough. So they call it drink driving.
Yeah.
52-year-old man. He had pulled his van over to the side of the road. He blew 3 times the legal limit when they caught up to him.
Wow.
But again, he'll maybe get some special consideration as he called 911 on himself.
Really?
He was responsible.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you been in court before? If he gets a good lawyer, he might get some consideration if he shells out enough money. But I'm surprised he was able to even call that in at 3 times the legal limit. But he did something terribly irresponsible. But he may sober up and regret that he called the cops someday. But could have been far worse for him.
It certainly could have. He said he'd had a rough weekend. It was Monday at noon.
Oh,
yeah.
Cry me a river.
My gosh. I'm just trying to think, like, how bad would it have to be for me to call 911 on myself? That's like, because the way I think about things, if I found myself behind the wheel of a car drunk again ever, and then I realized I was too drunk to drive, that's like me in the backswing of a 7-iron shot going, I should have pulled out the 6, but I'm not going to stop my swing. I'm just going to try to fix it in mid-swing.
Yeah.
And the ball's not going to go where it needs to go. But that's like me in that situation. If I'm driving and suddenly I'm like, hey, I think I'm drunk, I'd be like, well, I'll just cover one eye and talk myself home safely. And I'm not saying that's cool. I'm not saying that's what I should do.
No.
But calling 911 on myself, boy, that's a stretch.
Yeah. I mean, he'll get hit hard with that one. I don't know what the laws are like over there, but if you're double here, you get, I think, double the penalty or something like that.
It's intense over there. Everybody goes through a period of time when you're like, well, I've only had a couple, I'll be fine. We've all done that. Brits don't do that. It's like, no, they have that first beer. They're like, no, I'm not driving. I mean, everyone I know, I've been in a lot of situations with a lot of people, and it's really, really harsh penalties, and they just got it in their head long before Uber and Lyft. Like, no, you're either stone cold sober. If you've had that first beer, you're going to be in trouble. Just don't do it. And which I always respected as I would drive home half in the bag.
Yeah. You respected them.
I did. That's what I mean. Like, you guys have got this figured out. Now, who's driving with me? Who's going? I got room in the back.
Yeah, I got a bunch of knucklehead radio people in Ireland all smashed, and we had a bottle of Jameson, jumped into a cab, and offered our cab driver a shot of Jameson. It was St. Patrick's Day, after all.
Sure.
The cab driver declined, said, no, none for me. Have some fun. Back there, didn't throw us out for having a bottle of Jameson and just being obliterated in his cab. He was cool about that. Said something about, isn't it legal to be drunk and drive? This is Ireland, some old stereotypical joke one of us coughed up. And he informed us that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but he informed us at the time that one drinking and driving offense in Ireland, you lose your license for life.
For life?
Yeah, that's what he told us. I can Google that, and maybe that's not the case. But I know he said the drinking and driving law is much tougher in Europe generally and in Ireland.
Yeah,
and I know some of those Nordic countries, you lose it for life if you get busted once.
They also do, a lot of Nordic countries, Switzerland also does this. Any traffic violation, speeding tickets, the amount of fine is based on how much you earn. So there's a true story, like Finland, Switzerland, multi-millionaire gets pulled over doing 30 miles over the speed limit. The ticket will be literally $400,000.
That's awesome.
I mean, look it up. It's like they just look at it like you've got all this money and you're breaking the law, so your penalty is way more than someone who doesn't. Why would we give someone the same penalty when they ain't got a pot to piss in and you're a multi-millionaire?
God, I might have paid some of those parking tickets back in the day,
Yeah, no kidding.
that I couldn't afford to pay. And, a $40 parking ticket back in the day, you get, 10 or 15 of those. They add up.
Speaking of Europeans who have more money than they know what to do with, Robert Plant is coming to town. Whew, baby. Robert Plant and Alison Krauss, Friday, June 7th at the Mystic Amphitheater. We can all speak from personal experience. It's a great show. Those two together, it really is pretty fantastic. And we've got tickets to give away. We've got 2 callers locked and loaded, ready to rock. Tony, what are we going to do in order to ascertain who is the champion of the day around here?
What shall we do? What shall we do? Why don't we get a little personal on this one?
Why should I believe you?
Why should I believe you?
You can trust us.
I hope you'll trust us.
Trust us.
Let's find out if you'll trust us.
Now, why should I trust you?
Why? Why should I trust you?
Come on. You f***ed up. You trusted us.
Why? Listeners, do you really know us? Really? Can we be trusted? Well, we're each going to make a statement about ourselves and something that happened in our lives, and you guess if it's true or false. Fun, fun, fun.
I like it. Fun, fun, fun till Daddy takes the tickets away. Candace, who is contestant number 1?
We have Matt from St. Louis Park.
Matt, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Are you a Robert Plant and or Alison Krauss fan?
I will be today.
Wow. Okay. Matt coming in without any pressure. Sometimes the less you care, the better you perform. So, Matt, we wish you the best, sir. We're going to play a game called Trust Us. Tony, lead us down the path.
Okay, I'll go first, and we go around the horn.
Okay.
Matt, as a kid, I used to write on my head and arms and chest with a pen. I got my hair cut, and the barber said, "What's all this?" And I said, "What's the matter? Can't you read?" My mom had to apologize to him. True or false?
I'm going to say that's true.
It is true. I would do that obsessively.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Feels good to write on your skin.
Does it?
Sure, get creative. Lasts for a long time.
With a Sharpie, it sure does. Maybe it's not too late for a new habit for this old horse. I might try that. All right, Matt, 1 for 1. Well played, Candace. Are you ready to see if you can get Matt to trust you?
Yeah, so I actually saw Robert Plant a few years ago, went up to Moorhead and saw him, and I wiggled my way backstage by convincing the security guard because I knew that Robert Plant had a goat, and I have goats, and then we bonded over our goats together.
I'm going to say that's true.
Oh, I wish.
So close.
So I was close, but
you
I
didn't see Robert Plant in Moorhead?
I did, but I didn't get backstage.
She tried.
No goat chat.
No goat chat with Bob. That's all right, Matt. 1 for 2. These are tough. Zepp, see what you can do here.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I have a terrible stutter. Always have, except when I'm on the radio. And that's why I chose this as a profession.
False.
No, it's true. I'm sorry. No, that's false.
No,
that's
it is false. Woo! Yeah, I was about to go, really? Wow, you must think you're on the radio all damn day long. All right, Matt, you're back on the horse. You're 1 for 3. All right, I will lay this on you right now, Matt. On the one time I was ever called for jury duty, was relieved because the trial involved counterfeit concert merchandise. And because I was, in fact, in a touring band, I could not be relied upon to stay impartial.
True.
That is false, my friend. I'm sorry. Completely false. It was about a chiropractor, and he rear-ended somebody, and because I'd go to a chiropractor, they're like, "You're out of here." Matt, 2 for 4. Matt, 2 for 4, but hey, man, this is a tough game, so well played. Sit tight. We're going to get to contestant number 2 now. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Rich from Maplewood.
Rich, good morning.
Good morning.
You a Robert Plant fan?
I am, for sure.
Beautiful. He and Allison Krauss, Friday, June 7th. Those are the tickets we're playing for. We wish you luck. Tony, see if you can get Rich to trust you.
All right, Rich. I was a server at a popular Mexican place called Guadalajara's and would explain the special, which was chimichangas. And a customer at another table finally yelled out, "What do you want, man?" Turns out his name was Jimmy Changa, and he was ready to fight me.
I don't think so, no.
That did not happen. No.
Yet.
Jimmy Changa.
Hope springs eternal. All right, Rich. Rich saw right through your nonsense, Lee.
Yeah, that was the easy one.
Whoa, going easy, is he? All right, well, now it's time for Candace Wheeler to see if she can get Rich to trust her.
All right, I'm pregnant.
Okay. I am going to go no. No.
Wow.
I'm not pregnant, no. But I guess check back in a month. I might owe you some tickets.
Yeah,
wow.
Month by month. Yeah.
I would be forever amused by the fact that Candace Wheeler would have announced her pregnancy in a game show like that. I wasn't planning on telling anyone this, but I'm pregnant. Wow.
Now, what if he ends up winning based on that answer, and we find out that she was technically pregnant at this period in time? Well, we'll have to cross that bridge if we get to it.
I guess so. All right, Zepp, you're up.
Now, I once crash landed in a hot air balloon in a cornfield in Iowa, fearing I would die from cornstalk suffocation.
Ooh. I'm going to say that is false as well.
That one is true, my man.
Oh.
Yeah, the Matryoshka, which stands for Russian doll, was making its maiden voyage. And they're like, hey, what radio nut wants to go up there and broadcast live on a cell phone? And so that was me, and the dumbass I was flying with landed it on its side, crash landed in a cornfield, and it starts dragging me through the cornfield, and the basket is filling up with corn stalks. And I honestly thought at that moment I'm going to die suffocating in a hot air balloon basket full of corn stalks, but then an upgust pulled us up into the air and dropped us into the pasture next to the cornfield.
Oh, man.
Weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
The life of a radio man. You just never know.
No.
All right, you're 2 for 3, Rich. I will throw this one your way right now. I once ran into Robert Plant. Once while on vacation in the Caribbean. I bumped into him literally like, hey, Robert? And he said, yeah. And then he literally spent 5 minutes telling me about a fantastic rotisserie chicken joint on the other side of the island before turning away in mid-sentence and just walking off.
I'm going to say true.
It is true.
All right.
Yes, it was. He couldn't get enough of that roti chicken, as he called it. Rich, my man, you went 3 for 4, which means you have won the tickets. Robert Plant, Alison Krauss, June 7th at the Mystic Amphitheater. Matt, 2 for 4, not good enough today. You do have a runner-up prize, sir, and that is Lita Ford tickets this Saturday at the Medina Entertainment Center. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing. And there you have it.
You're welcome.
Off they go.
Yeah. All right. That was a good one.
It was fun.
It was fun. That run in with Robert Plant, by the way, on the island. We were staying at it was the first time we ever booked a vacation like months in advance, Rosemary and I, because we had a baby. She, unlike Candace, was pregnant and then had a baby. And then we said we went down with some friends and we found this really nice island, and they had a resort, and we wanted to stay at a resort because we wanted a doctor on call just to be safe. You know, like we weren't gonna cut nickel and dime because we had a baby, so therefore we have to be really careful and paranoid about everything. And so, and sure enough, but this island, there was a kind of island where there's like one resort and then there's nothing else, just the people that live there, and a pretty shabby kind of place in a nice, cool Caribbean way. And yeah, and Robert was literally staying in like a dilapidated shack in the woods. And I mean, I was like, oh, come on by the house. And we went down the road and went in. It was like, this is where you're staying? Always his thing. I toured with Robert in 1990 in the States. My band opened for him. And he would rent a car on days off. Or if the next city was only a few hours away, he would rent a car and drive himself constantly, because he wouldn't get on the interstate, take the highways, and every flea market, garage sale he'd pull up. He just loved being out and doing normal people stuff. He absolutely was not rock star guy at all. He was just fascinated by that stuff. And then he would literally say, like, oh, where are you guys off to? And you'd say, well, we're going to Brazil the first time. He'll go, oh, if you're in Sao Paulo, there's a little shop on the side of town. And he would, no matter, you could tell him you were going anywhere, and he would tell you about, I found the most amazing little trinket store, and it's over. It's just fascinating.
That's great.
Yeah, literally just a collector of experience, that guy.
What did he love so much about the rotisserie chicken?
He just, the sauce or something.
The flavor?
He just said it was, and it was a true hole-in-the-wall joint. I would have walked by it. I would have never poked my head in there. And it was just fantastic.
I bet that's what inspired his song, I've Been Everywhere.
Yes.
Robert Plant. It's on Road to Zen, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that's,
Sure,
I don't think that's Bob.
I'll Google it, but I think so.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, fascinating guy.
Yeah.
Just salt of the earth. And I know, no judgment here, but I know plenty of people in that position who just the exact opposite life. You know, like I've always like, yeah, you're touring the world 1 5-star hotel at the time. That's really not the same experience at all.
Right, exactly. Well, I think I've told the story several times on the air. I'm working a little hole-in-the-wall radio station in Sioux City, Iowa. It's in a basement of a dental operation. There's a dentist upstairs. We're down in the basement. And I get to interview Robert Plant on the Road to Zen tour, early 90s, from his hotel room prior to the show. Except we don't connect, and I had sold the hell out of this. I was doing afternoons. Robert Plant. It doesn't happen. I'm like, of course it's not happening. So I egg all over my face, and I got to get on the air. And then our receptionist runs in a little bit later and says, Robert Plant's in the lobby. Why? Well, he wanted to stop by for his interview. Why is he in the lobby? You don't have to ask me for permission. You can just bring him directly back to me.
Sure.
And he said, yeah, I was in the limo going down to the arena, and I said it was a shame I didn't get that radio interview on. And the driver, who I bought a big sandwich and a 12-pack of beer for, said, we were driving right by the radio station. Robert said, well, let's stop in and say hi. And then he plopped down, and I went gaga goo goo. He talked for 10 minutes, and then some lady said, Bob, we have to go.
Awesome.
And, that he would just stop, Here's a guy at, and Road to Zen, huge hit album for him. Obviously, he's Robert Plant, swing in and wander down in the basement and chat us up was a pretty cool thing. You guys, we started this morning or sometime in that first hour, we were talking about things that annoy us in grocery stores. And one of the things we didn't cover is when someone, in the aisle that you're shopping for, maybe even something you're shopping for, a can of Chef Boyardee or something, will stick it up their butt, pull it out of their butt, and then put it back on the shelf. I hate that.
I'm sorry. What?
That's terrible. No, that happened. But not in a grocery store. Wait till you hear about this kilt-wearing sicko. And, we have audio coming here in less than 15 minutes. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, February the 20th. We all know what a kilt is, right? A kilt, originally Scottish garment, resembling, it's like a wraparound knee-length skirt. Mm-hmm. The original Scottish Highland dress for men, first recorded in the 16th century as a full-length garment. And around the 18th century, they started shortening them, get the knees a little bit of fresh air.
Wait a minute. What you're telling me is that in Braveheart, that's not historically accurate. They were wearing kilts.
Possibly so.
Right around the 12th century. No, they weren't.
The small kilt or modern kilt emerged in the 18th century. So maybe they messed that one up on old Braveheart. Well, I mean, you had an Australian playing William Wallace. Right. So I mean, it's not exactly going to be the most specifically, historically accurate show.
Yeah, it turns out they messed up a lot of things in that. I was being sort of tongue-in-cheek. They screwed that up big time and a lot of other things in that movie.
They certainly did. My first time ever in Scotland, I had a day coach on tour, and the production manager we were off the highway. Suddenly we're in this deep forest on a narrow road, and we're like, dude, where are we going? And he's like, I just wanted to show you something. And we came to a clearing, and he goes, let's take a quick walk. And we took a walk through this wooded path to a giant clearing overlooking, like we were up in the Highlands, like a mountainous area. And there was this giant statue. And he goes, this is William Wallace. And he told us the whole story of William Wallace. This was in 1990. Yeah. And I, liking things like that, was fascinated. Everyone else was like, I'm going to kill this guy. Get us back. We got to get to Glasgow, man. And then years later, I was like, hey, that was kind of cool.
Sure.
We saw that statue before I ever heard about this guy otherwise. Tony Lee, you ever wear a kilt? Did any chance, I don't know, ever a moment when you rocked a kilt?
Thought about it. Not a flattering look for me. I'd be afraid of stray breezes. No, I haven't. But
Zepp ever had a kilt?
I did over at O'Gara's for the world's shortest St. Patrick's Day parade. Nice. I donned a kilt over there 1 year. Nice. The traditional method.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing underneath, just the good old kilt.
Well, of course.
How about you, Steve-O? You ever rock a kilt?
I do have the legs of a Vegas showgirl, so you'd think that I would do this more often. Never. Well, I wore a kilt once. It was not personal. It wasn't in my own time, and it was a totally bizarre circumstance. It was at a gala event for the Boys and Girls Club years ago, and I knew one of the women that worked there, and she called. I'll never forget. It was a woman that had once worked with my wife, and so she called, and I was like, "Hey, how you been, Jen?" And I hadn't talked to her. She goes, "I got a weird ask. Do you want to come down to this event Saturday night? Martin Short is our guest. He's the entertainment, and he has requested." Like a member of like a football player, like some huge person to be do something in a skit, but the Titans are at camp and I can't get any of the Vanderbilt people to come. I need a football player, but you're not a football player, but you're big. And I was like, you had me at Martin Short.
Right.
Yes, the answer is of course. And here was the shtick. So he just does a one-man show, but it's actually with a guy accompanying him on piano, so it's two men. But Martin Short just gets up and holds court for 60 minutes, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. But in the middle of this performance, he and I go backstage with him. I mean, I met him. We like sound check this. You know, I'm just like so thrilled. But we both wear full Scottish costume, kilt, the wraparound, the white shirt, the sash, the tam on the head, the socks, the whole thing. And we walk out together and we face each other, and this piano player is playing like a little march, like a thing, and we step out in sync together, and we turn and we bow to each other, and then he takes a step and he leaps into my arms. And I hold him like you'd hold a bride across the threshold. Yeah. And he takes his thumb and he sticks it in my mouth. And then I pretend to blow, and then he plays Amazing Grace as if he's a bagpipe. His legs and arms are kicking, and he's got his thumb in my mouth the whole time, and he's making the noise. And I'm holding him, and I'm just like, I really don't want to drop Martin Short, because when he started swinging his legs, I kind of got a little slippery there. Yeah. And the whole bit takes less than a minute, and everyone's laughing, and then I set him down, and we bow to each other, and we walked off stage. That was it.
Fantastic.
That is fantastic.
It was incredible. Now that I'm thinking back, it was awesome.
Should have put some peanut butter on his thumb just to be thoughtful.
That would have been pretty good.
And you guys watch Only Murders in the Building?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't see I saw the first two seasons. There's a third one, right?
Okay.
I saw some of it, yeah.
They're shooting a fourth. Yeah, it's good. It's not fantastic, but just because of Steve Martin and Martin Short, it's very likable. I love it.
If you're going to hang out with some people and you don't have to pay that close of attention and just be entertained, he's pretty great. So anyway, that's a whole lot of way to go. So all this kilt talk, we're about to take all the joy of kilt wearing and just destroy it for you. A man in Houston, Texas, not Houston, Scotland, was just arrested. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall. He weighs 250 pounds, and he is a kilt fan. And he has a whole different reason for wearing a kilt, apparently. My man went into not one but two different antique stores in Houston over the weekend. Both of these stores employ security cameras shooting video of of any customer in the joint. His name is Mitchell Vest, and Mitchell, in one store, picked up a makeup brush. And then also picked up what the police described as a hardware piece. At the second store, there's footage of him picking up an antique bottle opener and then some sort of a vintage tobacco can. Now, none of these items are necessarily worth a fortune. I mean, the combined value is just over a couple $100. But it was what he did with them. Zepp, I'm just going to let you take it from here.
You coward. As I alluded to in the tease, he stuck them up his butt. He took that's why he was wearing the kilt. Easy access, and they caught him on camera. This guy would put them in the no-go hole, and then once he was done with that fun little trick, he would put them back on the shelf.
Yeah, just
4 items.
Just a little fun, weird little habit of mine. I just like to put things up me bum.
And they caught him this time. Workers said that they'd seen Mr. Vest around there before, and they described him as really nice. Yeah, look out for the nice guy. You know what I want?
Got a makeup brush, man. Right. Where is a makeup brush for a man's bum?
No, listen, it's an antique store. We've gone in there and to antique stores before. They're a little musty. It's antiques. There's old things in there. I gotta feel that like I would have had I picked up one of these, a vintage tobacco can up the butt and back on the shelf. I got a feeling I would be able to smell that. Anyway, here's the antique gallery manager, Susan, talking about it.
Remember when I was disgusted? That night, one of the dealers sent me a video that she had from a camera in her own booth. I think they've been in here before. The employees recognized them and said they were just, the guy was really nice and she was nice, and they just shopped around for a few hours.
What did they do with those products?
They threw them away mostly.
Mostly.
My buttocks?
Yeah, they said others had to be clean. I mean, it was...
The vintage tobacco can, Tell me, please, he put it back on the shelf and said, "Now put that in your pipe and smoke it."
Oh, my God. He's wearing like is it bothering me? Why does it bother me he's wearing a black tank top, too?
It's so odd. You see a kilt, you want the whole look. You don't go kilt and tank top. You don't go kilt and wife beater.
How many things have you picked up at an antique store that have been up someone's bum?
That is the question. That is, and for the record, from now on, that will be the first thing I think when I go antiquing next.
Yeah.
Excuse me, have you seen a large gentleman in a kilt in here? Just asking, no reason. Just curious what the kilt scene is like in this neighborhood.
I mean, does he lube it? Is he doing it dry? Is it going all the way in? I'm watching some security footage.
No, you know him. He's like, there wasn't any lube at the Battle of Falkirk.
Yeah.
William Wallace wouldn't go for lube. He'd take a tobacco tin like a man, as will I. That's not even a Scottish accent, but you get the point.
Close enough, yeah.
Good
Really
Lord.
Nice guy.
Calm down, everyone. Calm down. It's just a tea kettle, and I'm man enough to take it. Jeez,
Don't ever trust anyone in a kilt ever again.
I don't think I'll be able to.
No.
Where have those bagpipes been? That's all I'm ever going to think.
This beats the guys up in Grantsburg. Called them the Elvi because they would come out to our Vegas shows dressed as Elvis. One year they came out in kilts and did the Sharon Stone and Basic Instinct. They all sat in the front row. Yeah, they did the leg change.
What a treat.
Many times. That's not a lot of
unfortunate.
manscaping up in Grantsburg, by the way. It's not one of their things they do. Not that would have made it any better, but hey, I mean, at least they weren't, as far as we know.
Yeah.
I
lost a makeup brush in my shrubbery. Speaking of things getting lost, check this. This is a weird. I have to get away from the kilt and the guy putting things up a 6 before I get sick. Here's a story from Pennsylvania. This is really weird. Cumberland Valley Township. A couple, their house was broken into. State police are investigating a burglary. Jewelry and money were taken, along with, listen to this, $1 million in Zimbabwe $1 trillion bills. Okay, first things first. Zimbabwe has a bill, legal tender, for 1 trillion Zimbabwe dollars. And a stack of them would be worth $1 million. Now, the Zimbabwe dollar, let's see here. What are we looking at? $2 is equal to 1,000 on the banknotes. The first dollar is $2 to 1,000. The second dollar is 1 cent to 500. It just gets confusing as all get out. But the inflation that ran rampant in Zimbabwe led them to the fact where they had to literally go, that's going to be $1 trillion, sir. Okay, I've got it right here on a banknote for $1 trillion.
Or did you just go to the convenience store? All I've got is a $1 trillion bill, a $100 trillion. Could you make change for this? A $100 trillion bill.
Here's the crazy thing. Use of the Zimbabwean dollar as an official currency was abandoned years ago in 2009 through 2015. And they've replaced that now with other things. So, but these bills, I guess they're worth a lot because they're just, they're hard to find now, I guess is why they're worth so much money. But all I know is this. If I found myself rifling through someone's safe in their home and came across something that said $1 trillion, I wouldn't for 1 second think that was real. That's monopoly money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just a gimmick. Souvenirs someone got when they were in Zimbabwe or something like that. At their local gaff shop or whatever it was.
Mike, did you get the jewelry? I did, and I got $9 trillion too. Wow.
You should put it in a frame and go, that is my first $1 trillion.
Speaking of trillions of dollars, how about millions of dollars? A guy in Washington, D.C. is suing both Powerball and the D.C. lottery. And this is brutal. I mean, take a moment and picture yourself in these shoes. January of last year, a dude by the name of John Cheeks bought a Powerball ticket, as we've all done. He checked the winning numbers online a day after the drawing, and he went 6 for 6. Boom. $340 million. And he followed the protocol. He took a photo of the ticket. He only told one other person and swore them to secrecy. And then he went into the lotto offices in D.C., grinning, I can only imagine, like a Cheshire cat, and said, I won the Powerball. Here's my ticket. And he was told, oh, no, we posted the wrong numbers. Sorry, we made a change. Those were not the accurate numbers. The D.C. lottery. So instead of all 5 and the Powerball, he actually was 0 for 6. None of his numbers were winners. And he had, by the way, he says they listed those wrong numbers for 3 days. He was sitting around like double checking, triple checking, a billion times checking. Finally was like, okay, I'm going to go in and do this.
Yeah.
So he had not 10 minutes, but a couple days to prepare for a new life with $340 million.
Holy crap. This is John Cheeks.
Hey, this ticket is no good. Just throw it in the trash can. And I gave him a stern look. I said, in the trash can. He goes, oh, yeah, just throw it away. You're not going to get paid. There's a trash can right there.
There is precedent for this. A similar case happened in Iowa where a mistake was admitted to by a contractor, and they paid the winnings out.
Yeah, that was his lawyer. And by the case he's talking about in Iowa, those winners ranged between $2 and $200, I believe, or something like that. Not $340 million, but give the guys. I mean, yeah, you're right. We talked about, you know, what you would do if you won $340 million. Your life has changed. I mean, your mind would change in that moment, wouldn't it? And now you've got a couple of days to sit on it. I mean, everything. I couldn't go back just easily.
It'd be pretty tough, man. It'd be pretty tough.
Yeah, that would. I mean, and now, you know, that little daydream we have where we buy ourselves, you talk about often, Steve, we're buying ourselves that little daydream that we might just win. Now imagine winning it. Now we've got to sweat it out till we get there, hoping that those ding-dongs didn't screw it up. I mean, how do you, if there's something you should double check, you know? It would be the $340 million jackpot numbers you're putting up on the website.
I would think that would be step one, is make sure you have the right number.
Yeah. Go ahead. 0 for 6. They were 0 for 6. They put the completely different wrong numbers up there, and no one. And by the way, they did not pay it out, obviously. That's why he's suing. That jackpot then went on to $750 million before someone won it. So, that'd be a ball breaker right there.
Yeah, I mean, you do everything right. The first thing you do when you have the winning lottery ticket, in my mind, is you put it in like one of those Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Like a free, just so you can't possibly tear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta put it somewhere.
Tape it to your body.
And then you put that into some Tupperware, and then you put that into you just got
to carry around.
Knocks that sucker.
Right.
I've always thought about that. Like, I always thought about it. But I mean, I've had the train of thought, like, let's say you're traveling and you win it and you're not at home. Like, do you just change your life and stay there till you claim it? Or do you go home and then get it all together and then go back to the state where you won it? And if so, do you FedEx it to yourself, or do you fly with it on the plane? Like, what do you do with that ticket? Right. There's so many opportunities. I worry about the TSA guy opening your bag and just taking it.
No, it would never leave my possession. He can look at it in my hands.
Man.
But yeah, no one touches it but me until we get there. So yeah, it would just be difficult to go back and, grab the mail out of the mailbox and, here's the bills and here's everything that I thought I was never going to have to worry about again for the rest of my life.
I'm glad you mentioned that. There's a whole bunch of people in England who are not looking forward to getting the mail anymore. A group of residents of a nursing home, and they received in the mail a bunch of Valentine's cards, and they were very sweet. They're like a whole big delivery came. Everybody in the nursing home suddenly had one or even sometimes two Valentine's cards, very tastefully done. There was a red heart and a pink bow. And the residents, according to the staff, across the board, thrilled that they were being remembered on Valentine's Day. They opened them up, and on the inside it said, "Sent with love from T.H. Sanders and Sons." Do you want to take a guess at what T.H. Sanders and Sons is? It's not a landscaper.
Cemetery.
It's a funeral home.
Yeah.
To the nursing home.
Well, they're hitting their target demo right there, aren't they? Come on.
Thoughtful.
Let's see. The funeral home apologized for any, quote, unintended distress. Yeah, I think that's kind of that's some distress. Sure.
Now they got some attention out of it. Come on, you're checking out sooner or later. I mean,
but when it's sooner, you just don't want to be reminded by a stranger. It's one thing for your kids to come in and go, Mom, we got to talk about your estate. What are you leaving behind? That's a conversation. But hey, thinking of you on this, hopefully, final Valentine's Day, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, here's 20% off if you kick off before next Valentine's Day or something like that,
Man, that's nuts. Candace, we have a caller, I believe, on the talk and text line.
Mike from Shoreview.
Mike, good morning, sir.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Great, man. What do you got for us?
We were just talking about the lottery.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago, me and my buddy, we split a ticket. They used to announce the winning numbers at like 9:57 at night in between, 5 to 10 in the news, right? Remember that?
Yep.
And we got them all right. And we're freaking out, jumping up and down, acting a fool. And during the newscast, they put the numbers up. Honest to God, 0 for 6. Same thing you just said.
Oh.
Crazy.
Ouch, babe. So you initially found out how on the website?
At 9:57, in between the last 5 minutes before the news started, they flipped here's your winning Powerball number.
Yeah.
And they put them on the screen. We freaked out. We won,
Yeah, right.
And then we're watching the news is on right after, and they go, today's Powerball, whatever, and they put up the numbers, and not one number matched what we had.
I bet someone used an old scroll or something like that. They used a previous one, or either that or it was just a kind of a stock or something like that. And what are the odds that is actually your numbers and not the ones they actually drew? Well, that's not, and that's the local TV station, right? But you're right. Therefore, whatever that 5-10 minutes was, you thought you'd cashed out. Was it a big number?
Yeah, I think it was about $15-20 million.
Oh,
not bad.
That was a big
Lord.
number.
That would have done it. That would have been okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough.
So, they do not want to play anymore,
Yeah,
That's why you're still listening to the radio in the morning. I imagine you have to work.
I've been listening to it for decades.
Yeah,
right on. We appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much. My former rock and roll combo, the Black Crowes, we were in a recording studio in L.A. in 2009 recording an album that came out called Crowology. It was all like acoustic reworkings of some older songs. And at some point, one of the guys that worked for the band, he said, hey, the Powerball's up to like 600 million or whatever it was. And he's like, I'm going to 7-Eleven. Everyone give me $10. I'll just buy a ton of tickets and we'll all split if we win. And so everyone hands him $10. So it's like 6 guys in the band and this guy makes 7. So he goes over and whatever he bought. That's a lot of tickets for whatever that is. It was $70. So 35 tickets. And we got 30, and we all said, if we win, we're going to split it all evenly 7 ways. And then, he brought the tickets back and he's like, all right, tomorrow, man, we might very well all be millionaires. And I said, let's just be honest. If we win, this band will never play together again, right? And immediately I was like, "Oh yeah, no, we're done. We'd break up. We'd break up in a second if everyone gets $10 million, we'd never speak to each other again." And I was like, and ever since then, I've been like, that's the way a lot of bands are. Like if the real ship comes in, you just feel like any job doesn't even have to be a band. Most people, that's what it is. You're like, yeah, later. It's been nice. Got to go.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Love it. Getting along great. This is fantastic. Goodbye.
And then how many zeros? Oh, I got to go. Later.
Yeah, got to go. We got to go. Take a little break, and then we're going to come back. Here in Minnesota this year, they passed a law that everyone gets mandatory paternity leave when you have a baby. That's a nice touch. We've got a Swedish politician that wants to give workers a 1-hour fun break during the day. I think this would be a nice touch. Oh, and we have the audio, a cougar being attacked by a cougar. 5 cyclists out in Washington attacked by a mountain lion. And we have some audio with that as well coming up. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, February the 20th. Good morning. We've got a report of cougar on cougar crime. Is that what I'm supposed to understand, Zep?
That's it. Cougar on cougar crime. Should we just go to the news story? I've got a little clip here of the news story. This is out of Washington. 5 cyclists out there, and from television station KOMO out of Seattle.
Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife Police said 5 mountain bikers were stalked by the cougar before being attacked. A 60-year-old woman in the group suffered serious injuries to her face, neck, and jaw.
Jumped from the side of the road and latched onto her. Her friends were able to detach and fight this thing off.
The cougar was then shot and killed by Fish and Wildlife Police.
They 100% saved their friend's life. If it wasn't for them, I can't believe they did what they did. They were able to pin down a good-sized lion with all his claws and teeth and everything else under a mountain bike until we arrived.
You pinned down a lion with a bicycle.
With a bicycle. And, we talk about, when they're sick and emaciated or something like that, how they become dangerous. We talked about a coyote that attacked someone last week, and it turns out it was sickly.
Yep.
But apparently they don't think that was Sergeant Pace with the Game and Wildlife Department out in Washington State. But, yeah, they think this was a fully healthy mountain lion just taking on a cyclist. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. A guy was taken off his bike by a mountain lion out in Washington. He's riding with his buddy. His buddy sees him right in front of him. The mountain lion just leaps, takes his buddy off the bike. He continues to bike down to the bottom of the mountain when he realizes he's just not going to be able to help his buddy. There's some speculation about could he have or not, but he continued to the bottom, and when they got back up, the mountain lion was already eating the dude. So that happens.
That's one of those, you can't really question someone's reaction to a mountain lion strike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you stay to help, okay, and if you run like for the hills, okay. I mean, that's just got to be even if you're in an area where that they're there, knowing mountain lions live in the area and seeing one jump on a friend, that's 2 very different experiences.
No.
It is. I'm not going to give you a pass on that, though. But I say you stay and, fight it out and try and help. But, he did what he did, and...
Well, I'm just saying some people would certainly say the same thing. You just never know how you're going to respond to something. I mean, that freeze
in the moment,
flight, fear, whatever those things are. Some people, to the last guy you might expect would be the one to panic, and the last guy you'd expect would be the one to jump in there and chokehold that sucker. I've been, right in Los Angeles, there's areas you can go. You can round a corner on a canyon road and suddenly it's very remote. I mean, in the middle of the city. And there are sightings still occasionally right in the middle of the second largest city in America. There will be, we just saw a cougar over by the 5. You hear these reports. Mm-hmm. Never saw one myself, but I've certainly been in areas where they're sighted regularly, and it's always kind of chilling. I mean, I'm in a car. I'm not walking or cycling in those areas.
I got on 394.
Yeah,
right over here in Golden Valley or Highway 100, wherever that mountain lion was eventually hit. But yeah, they're starting to, conservation efforts. There's more. The mountain lion population is the highest it's been in the United States here in over 100 years. So yeah, they're going to creep in and get around a little closer to people sometimes.
And they are native to the various areas. I mean, there are whatever you call them, cougars, mountain lions. I mean, they're all over big swaths of the country. They're not an invasive species, is my point. They didn't come here from somewhere else. Unlike Burmese pythons, which have taken over the Everglades, they are very much an invasive species, doing tremendous damage down there. And now a New York City man was just busted crossing back into the United States from Canada over by Montreal. He had 3 Burmese pythons hidden in the inner thigh of his pants. In the snake they were in snake bags. They were individually bagged, tied to his pants drawstring. Smuggling 3 Burmese pythons. These are one of the world's largest snakes. And again, he paid for them in Quebec. About $2,500. This is a guy from New York City. Didn't get exactly a story on what he thought he was going to do with 3 Burmese pythons. He probably had somebody in the city who thought they'd be a cool pet. He was going to sell them. But yeah, that's not cool. They're not supposed to be here because if you let one loose, it gets out and causes all kinds of problems. I mean, the damage in the Everglades from all these pythons. They have those hunts all the time now. They just hey, if you want to come hunt snakes, here's your time. And they just snake season's on in the Everglades because they multiply like crazy and they eat everything else. And then, you take a few animals out of the ecosystem and it messes all the vegetation up, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a series of dominoes. And then let's not even, this is all without mentioning the fact that snakes are gross and creepy and scare the living crap out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about that, the hunts down there. My dad and I had actually looked into a python hunt. Thought, that could be fun. Go down there and thin the herd a little bit and watched a python hunt on YouTube. I'm like, no effing way. They roll up their pants and they're out there in the swamp and they're like, you got to try and step on one. Then when you step, I'm like, stop right there. Stop the video. Yeah. Not probably going for a python hunt anytime until there's a blind I can sit up in and pick them off, across the swamp or whatever. But in New York, yeah, I suppose. I mean, if that sucker gets out, at least it has a lifetime supply of rats to eat. But man. Can you imagine what's down in the sewers?
Yeah.
The alligators, the pythons, the HUD, human cannibalistic.
Steve, what would freak you out
dwellers?
more, to run into a cougar or a python?
Oh, I'll take my chances with the mammal anytime.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a 4-chambered heart with warm blood, and I think we can come to an agreement somewhere in the middle.
And if you lose, let's say you lose both of them, the python will consume you alive and slowly digest you, whereas the mountain lion will jump on you, grab your throat, and bleed you out while you slowly fall
Real
asleep
fast.
in about 4 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
That's preferable. But I do think that, similar to every poll that says over half of American men are convinced they could land an airliner if need be in a pinch, I'm convinced I could look that animal in the eye and come to an agreement. No, hang on. This is not what you want to do. Come on, bro. We're both mammals,
Yeah, I feel that way
good
about
kitty.
snakes because I'm evil.
No, they have black eyes, black hearts, black souls. They're the work of the Beelzebub himself. Speaking of the work of Beelzebub.
Tony?
What?
I just heard some snake sound effect there in the background. Super creepy. I thought that was Tony. I didn't know if that was him. Yeah.
Oh, my God. What is that?
That's my predator noise I can make, actually.
Tony
Yeah,
is
that's
evil.
very good.
Join us.
You can see
Join
the
us.
3 infrared dots.
One
on the-
of us.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't have a snake in your act there for sabotage. I know it's an Alice Cooper thing, but I can see you up there with the whole snake wrapped around you, like Selma Hayek and Dusk Till Dawn.
Hell yeah.
Well, I can promise. Do me a favor. If that is going to be a feature of your next gig, let me know ahead of time. I will wish you the best. One of the main reasons I always live in very crowded, densely populated urban areas is because there's less chance I'm going to run into a snake. It's just that simple.
Oh, Indy.
That's me. Cape Town, South Africa, investigation launched the other day by city authorities. This entire city was overtaken by a foul stench. And so initially, city officials inspected all the sewage facilities. They thought there must have been a leak somewhere. An environmental health team was activated. And then it turned out it was a pretty simple explanation. There was a ship docked in the harbor with 19,000 head of live cattle.
What?
19,000 cattle on a ship that is on its way from Brazil to Iraq. Oh, my goodness. They said sewage smell was blanketing parts of the city. And then, of course, animal welfare groups got involved because they're like, wait a minute, you have how many heads of cattle on one ship for weeks at a time?
Yeah.
It's pretty unbelievable. It's a 600-foot livestock vessel. I didn't know livestock vessels were a thing.
Yeah.
I thought there were boats that you'd put a couple cows on here and there, but no. Apparently, when you've got a bunch of cattle in Brazil and you sell them to someone in Iraq, you got to put them on a boat.
Yeah, I would have thought, I'm sure they exist. I mean, that makes sense to me, and we transport livestock, but 19,000? It sounds like someone took an old oil tanker and went, I bet if we threw some straw in there, we get about 20,000 cows in there.
There's a whole stretch back to California on Interstate 5, which you can take from San Diego to Seattle. It's the West Coast, straight up and down.
Yeah.
In the middle part of California, there is a many miles, like 20 to 30 mile stretch stretch where it's just cattle in these fields.
Yeah.
It goes on seemingly forever, and you smell it 5 miles before you see a single cow. And it's just, everybody out there knows, if you're going to be driving up the 5, there's going to be a good solid half hour where you better turn on the recirculated air and just pray for the winds to be in your favor. It doesn't matter what you're on. I've done that on a tour bus. I've done it in my own car, and it's extraordinary. For if you didn't grow up around that sort of smell, Zep, you grew up on a farm. You smelled manure, I imagine, certainly more than I did growing up.
Cattle was our thing.
Yeah.
By the way, horse manure, kind of sweet. It's got a nice smell to it. Terry Tran and I used to talk about that all the time and gross city people out. But cattle smell doesn't bother me in the least. Listen, it's just grass. You know, it's not like human feces, what the things we're putting in our body and crapping out. Or you want to know one of the worst, those confinements. When you're out in the country driving along, they have a hog confinement or a chicken confinement, turkey confinement, where they're all crammed into those buildings. Those are pretty bad. But I think the worst one, Denver, driving out there from the airport into Denver, the Purina dog food factory right there on the interstate. Oh, man, is that rank. That's pretty bad. I'll take some cattle poop. That's not too bad. It's recycled grass. I don't know what they're putting in the dog food. Horse meat or something. Man, it's rank. Yeah, nasty smells. But there was that story we did several years ago. I don't know if you know this or not, Steve, but New York exports its poop. There's so much human poop in there that the sewage can't contain it all there in that big city of New York. So they put it in trains on the big those big tanker cars.
Sure, yeah.
And they ship it down south, and then they dispose of it down south somewhere. Some rural area. I don't know, pump all into a big septic tank down south there. But anyway, one got stuck in Alabama. I think it was Alabama.
Oh, I remember that. That was a few years ago.
For weeks.
Yep.
And somebody unhooked the train car, left it there. Someone didn't come pick it up like they were supposed to. No one was claiming it, and it sat there in August for weeks. That was human poop.
Oh.
That's nasty right there.
If you want to hop a train for an adventure and you hop in that car and you're like, yeah, I picked the wrong one.
Oh, there's the bullet train, and I jumped on the poop train.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's rough. And you've got these people. Yeah, it was in Alabama, and they're just like, you hear about that, and chances are they have no idea that these trains exist or that they travel through your county.
Right.
And then one stops, and then you're like, wait, I'm sorry. We're doing what with who's what now?
Yeah, that's what Canada is for. And you're right up there by it. Quit trucking it down to the south where it's actually hotter.
Oh,
I don't know what you can do with that. Dig a big hole out over there by Buffalo. Dump it in there or something. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be pretty nasty. But 19,000 cattle in one ship. That doesn't sound like that. That's by regulation, I don't think.
Well, then you're getting right back to the fact that I truly don't know how so many basic things work. There's no reason a boat that has that many cattle should be able to float. It's just that simple.
Right.
And I know that they fill bigger boats with oil. I understand how all that works, but it's like that will never cease to amaze me that someone figured that one out. And they figured that out long before they had regular tools and telescopes, and they had no way of knowing it. They just let's just cut down some trees and make a shape and see what happens. And then, this works. 19,000 cattle on one ship.
Whew, it had to be loud, too, man. The cacophony when you just...
All right. Let's move it to sunnier, friendlier climes as far as animal goes. Today is National Love Your Pet Day.
Gigi.
Yeah, Gigi. What's Gigi's day? What do you have planned for National Love Your Pet Day?
Probably some snuggles for sure.
Okay, sure.
Maybe a walk. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day out.
She's like, step it up.
Yeah, really.
That's it.
Maybe I'll give her a brushing.
You've already given Chauncey Gorman a lot of love today, Candace.
Chauncey's
we appreciate
back.
that. 67% of dog owners say that on a daily basis they gaze lovingly into their dog's eyes. Yeah, that's true. I do it all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I did not do that this morning when he woke me up at 1, just for no reason. I did the opposite of gaze lovingly into his eyes.
You're lucky.
Punched him.
Tomorrow's National Kick Your Dog Day.
I'm gearing up for that. 47% say they cuddle with their dog more often than their partner. And 53% of dog owners say they would consider ending a relationship if their partner didn't like dogs or was allergic to dogs. Yeah, there's no having a relationship with someone who's like, I don't like dogs. Mm-hmm. Be like, okay, well, then see ya.
Yeah. I dated a woman one time, and we were talking about how the previous relationships had tanked. We'd gotten into that talk. And, the guy that she dated before me, he said, listen, it's the cats or it's me. I'm like, dude, why even say it? Just leave. I mean,
yeah, really?
Yeah, you know
later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dump for a couple of cats. But, yeah, you can't put someone in that. You can't do that. Well, listen, we're going to get to this Swedish politician who's offering up sex breaks in Sweden. I might be packing my bags. I don't know. You get a 1-hour sex break during the day. That's not bad. Oh, by the way, good news if you're thinking about enlisting in the Navy. They're no longer banning sailors from using their pockets. I didn't know. I was in the Army. We use the hell out of our pockets. In the Navy. Cue the music. That's coming up. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. And yesterday I spent some time with Steve Gorman. Not me. Well, not mirror time. My buddy, the dentist, Dr. Steve Gorman. I've been doing spots for the Gorman Center for Fine Dentistry all year. Mm-hmm. And at long last, because I had to do a lot of prep work, had a lot of dental issues that I had to get clarified and cleared and fixed. And yesterday, I got step one towards getting my teeth looking great. I got the provisional veneers in a week. I'll get the permanents. But right now, my teeth look amazing.
Yeah, they do. Seriously.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Envious.
And
you're like a star.
Yeah, just like in one day. I just walked in there, I got numbed up, and Doc Steve took great care of me. And it's just, I'm walking around going like, wow, this is what it looks like when your teeth are straight and healthy. Huh. Go figure.
You just walk around being a smiling idiot.
I know.
Yeah.
Literally, just get a Cheshire Cat my way through life. But it was great. I was in and out in a few hours. And by the way, though, I don't go for the gas or sedative. I've had a lot of dental work. I've had root canals. I've had cavities. I've always had terrible teeth. And I'm just so used to it. I just go in. I mean, they gave me Novocaine, of course. They got to numb you up so it doesn't hurt. But I don't like to be like dopey on the gas or any of that stuff. In mid yesterday, doing a lot of work in there, a lot of noises, a lot of drills. It sounds like a construction site. Just felt dead asleep.
Seriously, you conked out.
Just nodded right out for a few minutes.
See, the morning show is working in your favor.
That's
in some
exactly
ways.
Right.
That old Pat, I'll sleep through anything once the show's over.
My front two, and I have big teeth. My front two teeth, they've been messed up since I was a kid. I had a bicycle crash, and they turned black. Literally, those front two teeth, and we thought they might just fall out. The dentist was like, they may have to be removed. Like I would have been, 10 getting fake, centered, the choppers, the beaver teeth, would have had to be replaced. They stayed in. They didn't die completely, but the nerves were shot, and then they came back, but didn't retain their full color. So they've always been darker than the rest of my teeth, and then just general staining over the years. So it's funny, like I've gone in one time, I was like, I need my teeth whitened. And they're like, well, we'll try. And like nothing changed. They just like, you just can't. I could put some liquid paper on them. But, anyway. And so they were getting a little wonky. I had some gum stuff. So it's taken a while because I had to do this had a gum issue I had to fix. Anyway, all this to say, very, very happy. Gorman Center for Fine Dentistry, they'll set you free.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Nice. Can I just go in there for like regular dentistry stuff? Like just a tooth cleaning? And so I'm overdue, and I was like, I'm going to go see all the other Steve Gorman. Yeah,
all the basics up there. It's pretty great.
Shape, yeah.
Pretty strong. So anyway, if you come up to me and I'm like, hey, how you doing? With a big smile, that's why. That's all. Just saying. Finally not like, putting a finger over my mouth going, don't look at my brown teeth.
All right.
That's just one of those things. Speaking of guys who need some dental work on occasion, did you check out the Minnesota Wild yesterday? Woo! Holy smokes. There were 17 goals scored in a game between the Minnesota Wild and the Vancouver Canucks yesterday, and thankfully 10 of those by the Wild. If you didn't hear any of it, check this out.
There, darting in left side, Boldy spinning through one in front, they score! Boldy right circle, took a shot, he scores! Zuccarello Came out, threw one in front, they score! Moving out bottom of the right circle, up top Hartman. Right back to Zuccarello, thrown in front, they score! Erickson! It's squeezed loose, Boldy to Zuccarello, tapped up, Kaprizov scores! Scores! It's a hat trick for Erickson! On the forecheck, dug it free, spike one in front, they score! Boldy cutting behind the net, threw it in front, Kaprizov scores! For the point by Aronik, left wing corner, Brody sails into the empty net. He scores! Here's Kaprizov again, the empty net, he scores!
Literally one game.
Amazing.
I mean, at some point, Bob Kurtz is listening back to that going, yeah, I got to come up with something else, just to mix it up. If they're going to score 10 a game, you got to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Closing in on a playoff perch, if you will.
Yeah.
2 points out of 8th place right now. And for this team, that shows they've turned it around. I mean, this was a slow start to the season, to be sure.
Right, yeah, to see the coach go and new coach come in, and then they were gangbusters there for a couple of weeks, and then really fell off again. And so it's been a pretty typical Minnesota Wild roller coaster season again, but that roller coaster has been coming up. It's been doing well towards the end of the season and coming down the stretch. What do we got? About 2 months left in the season. Pretty close.
Yeah.
They're a couple of points out of a playoff spot. I mean, it's not the kind of team where you're like, I think we got a shot at the cup this year. But, everybody loves some playoff hockey, and hell, just keep playing like that. By the way, Ek and Kaprizov both with hat tricks last night.
Amazing.
Yeah, truly incredible. The British film director Sam Mendes, who had made 1917, I think was his last movie, an incredible World War I film. He did American Beauty back in the late 90s. Revolutionary Road, pretty fascinating film. Skyfall, The Spectre, a couple James Bonds. Road to Perdition, the Tom Hanks as a hitman.
Oh, yeah.
I like that a lot.
This guy's done a lot of good movies. Yeah. His newest project that they just announced, he's going to direct 4 entirely separate films, each one about one of the Beatles.
Oh, I thought you were going to say us.
Sorry.
Because there's 4 of us, but no, God dang it.
These
all right,
stories,
well, that's cool.
Each one, it's 4 separate movies, one from each member's point of view, and they will intersect to, quote, tell the astonishing story of the greatest band in history. I mean, this band broke up 54 years ago, and this guy's going to make 4 entirely new films. They will all come out in 2027. Good Lord!
What a cool
idea! And we're
going
to watch them. Going to watch them.
Yeah, we're going to watch all of them. I mean, and I'm a lifelong Beatles fanatic, and even I go, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, I mean, because of the movies you talked about, I've been a fan of his for years. Who hasn't? That's an easy admission, right?
Yeah.
Fan. I trust him to, in other words, it's not Oliver Stone.
Right.
Or, even, one of my favorite directors, just screwing up or mucking up the story. I think he'll get the job done well. I'm trying to think what that would look like. 4 different, because they were also 4 different, so fantastic, so fab together.
Yeah.
But you talk about different individuals to a person.
I know there's a whole lot of British men in their mid-20s who were looking in the mirror and going, I could get my nose worked on and look a little bit like George. Those people want those parts bad. My buddy Stephen Hayden, a great music writer, just tweeted, I just saw this. He says, this whole concept is way more interesting if it's about specific moments in their post-Beatle lives. And this is a great point. He goes, Paul, make the movie about his 7-day prison stay in Japan for pot possession. I would watch that whole movie about McCartney in prison. And by the way, offered a private cell and said no. He was in Gen Pop the whole time.
Well, yeah, because he's in Japan. Paul McCartney's a tough guy in prison in Japan.
That's
he's got some
true.
size on him. I don't know.
Yeah, but just the idea that he's like, no, I'm good, thanks. John Lennon, he says he suggests a buddy movie about him and Nilsson, early 70s L.A. That would just be that'd be like a Hunter Thompson getaway buddy romp if it were just drinking and drugging. George, a Traveling Wilburys biopic. Yeah, that'd be good. Can you imagine?
I'd rather see the Monty Python years, to be honest with you, when he was hanging out with those guys in the 70s.
Even better.
But you get more bang for your buck with the Wilburys, I think. Probably.
And then, of course, for Ringo, he suggests a movie about the making of Caveman.
Great. Barbara Bach.
Which, by the way, I loved as a kid, and I wasn't even into the Beatles thing yet. That really hadn't hit me as their music or whatever. I was too young for that, but it came out, and I was like, I thought it was pretty good.
I remember watching it when I was a kid, just to be on HBO, and it was like it was ridiculous, but it was Ringo, so therefore I was all on board.
Yeah, and I didn't get any of the sex stuff, and I still liked it.
Yeah, I would watch a biopic about Ringo doing the Thomas the Tank Engine narration.
Sure.
I always loved that one. What was there was the one word in Caveman, now before I forget it, where they kept saying words. It was like, it was really weird.
I do remember watching it as an adult, but not the entire thing, when I went, okay, some things are just bets left to the past and childish naivete. Any word on casting yet?
Not a word. I haven't heard a thing about it.
Well, the worst mistake they could make is some well-known Hollywood.
No, you got to go with unknowns. Or Kate Blanchett is all 4 Beatles.
Yes.
That also works.
And Mark Wahlberg has to be George Harrison. Has to be.
He's a spiritual guy, so that makes perfect sense. Ringo was the narrator for Thomas the Tank Engine, the original series when it ran in England in the 80s. And there was a few John Lennon letters that he wrote to personal friends after his death. They surfaced. People would put them up in auction or just share them publicly. And apparently the Thomas the Tank Engine producers originally reached out to John Lennon to narrate. And he mentioned this in a couple of handwritten letters, and he said, can you imagine a Beatle narrating a children's show? And he was making fun of it. And then, of course, Ringo got that and was like, oh, I could use that payday. Let's go. And then, of course, he's great at it. My kids grew up watching, Ringo. And then who followed Ringo Starr as the Thomas the Tank Engine narrator? George Carlin.
Right.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I remember.
They both did just killed it. They were great.
I don't know that, because Ringo can go there, George Carlin can go there. I don't know if John Lennon, too much John Lennon would have seeped through at different times. Sure. It would have been like, John, listen, we can't tell the kids to F Christ. We're just not going to do that this episode.
James was proud of his paint color, and he was a jealous bastard.
Yeah, right?
Go.
They'd just be I think it would have been cool. And who knows, it was probably him that called Ringo and said, hey, there's a gig here for you. I think it was during, I don't know, one of the many Beatles documentaries. He actually gave Ringo a songwriting credit on one of his solo songs, because he didn't want to see him, back then you made the money off publishing, right?
Sure.
And he didn't want to see Ringo end up in a cover band in North England somewhere, he said. Now, it turns out there was never any chance of that happening, and Ringo had bigger hits with his own songs, whether he wrote them or they were cover songs or someone else wrote them.
First 5 years of the 70s, Ringo outsold the other 3 by a wide margin. He was the biggest selling member of the Beatles.
I don't think John saw that coming.
No, I don't think he did. Well, John didn't understand the lack of an audience for songs about your dead mum.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude, it's a great song. It's incredible you're bearing your soul, but that's not fun. Ringo's over there singing about, the no, I don't snort it no more.
That's
Come on.
right.
Yeah. He's having a little bit better time. Photograph? Come on. Of course, George wrote that for him.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Band breaks up and they're all like, let's see what we can do for Ringo. Here's a hit song for you, lad. All right, thanks, George. You want some more tea? Yeah, sure. What's such civilized sessions? That's good stuff. Let's see what else we did. We did discuss today on the show, supermarket, the people that annoy you the most at supermarkets.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention this one, which is on occasion, we've all done this, and especially this time of year or a little earlier in the year, is you are usually it's one of two ways. You're either on the way in or on the way out. And on the way out, it's a little more annoying, but there's the Girl Scout cookies set up. They set up the table right there at the store. And it's great. You're like, oh, I don't have to wait for them to knock on my door. I can just get cookies now. But I have been accosted, and when I've said, no, I'm good, thanks. And then they go, oh, come on. And they try to guilt you into it. And they give you the face. And I've seen things. I saw this year for the first time. Girl Scout cookies they're on sale. You see Girl Scouts everywhere, and people were posting, hey, if a Girl Scout approaches you, here's what you don't say. And it makes sense. They were saying, don't say, oh, no, it's bad for my diet, or, oh, I can't. They're just comments people make, and they were suggesting that actually to young girls, these can really kind of play in their mind, and they can take that and think it means something. And a lot of things that could lead into what a girl thinks is body shaming or, blah, 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 blah. And it all made perfect sense. But a few of them, I was like, okay, come on, let's stop. They're little kids, and they don't care. And they're just trying to sell cookies. And if you say no thanks, that's okay. You don't have to go over the top and explain why you're not buying the cookies.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed.
I'm a Keebler guy. Back off.
Yeah, really. I know. My cousin was killed at a Girl Scout meeting once. Whatever the reason, it's like
Girl Scout broke my heart.
There's a picture of her.
No is pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing too. We missed this one. Have you ever been at the grocery store and two people, like Zepp, you mentioned someone just leaves their cart in the middle of the aisle and then goes, oh, I'm just going to go down here and grab the ketchup, and pickles too. Oh, and I need the mayo, and then they leave their cart. But what about two people just standing there having a chat with carts? They've got the whole thing blocked and they are catching up.
Yeah. No, this happens, by the way, this happens on sidewalks. This happens in malls.
Yeah.
This happens everywhere. This happens on ski hills. People just stop right in the middle of wherever they're at, the top of a stairway, an escalator, wherever, just stop right in the middle and start chatting.
Yeah.
Awareness. I am that D-bag that will bumper cart your cart.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I'll give it not viciously and screaming like some, mad freak, or also I will cut right between you two, and somebody will get a little shoulder bump.
Yeah.
I'll even give you the old, excuse me, boom, as I bust through. But yeah, stop it. Situational awareness. Get off to the side.
I'll move a cart, and when I do it, the person always goes, oh, I'm sorry. And I always go, no, I got it. And then just let them, like with a smile, like, no, it's fine.
And
I got
take something out.
Push it back at them.
Oh, you
top
already got
speed.
Ramming speed.
See, I don't. I just avoid everyone. I'll just back up backwards and go into the other aisle and just avoid it completely. I don't need to talk to you. And then I get a little extra exercise too. A couple extra steps.
Well, you have another element to think about, which is a number of people who go, "Are Candace?" And then then you're
oh
stuck.
boy, I'm going to be here all day. Luckily, I have my Sharpie with me.
One comment someone wrote: they hate customers who thump a melon and then return it to the pile.
Well, it's
a melon. I don't want you touching like an apple or something that you don't peel. But if it's a melon,
right.
You're not eating the rind. I did spend a summer as a produce dude at a grocery store. I missed frickin' Live Aid because I was unloading a produce truck all morning. But people would come up and I'd be out just stocking. I'd be piling up the cantaloupes, and every time, anytime I was out on the floor. There would always be a kindly old lady who'd go, can you pick a ripe melon for me? And there's all these cantaloupes. And I literally had no idea how to choose what melon it was. I asked the guy one day, my boss, and he told me, and I didn't hear a word he said because I really wasn't paying attention. But I would pick up a cantaloupe, and I would put it right next to my ear and just, with my thumb, just
give it a tap.
And I would tap it, and I would set it down. I go, no. And I'd grab a second one. And then that one, here you go. And they go, well, thank you. And they would just be so happy. No idea what I was handing them.
That's not why they were asking you, dude. They were hitting on you. We learned in Animal House the produce section is the most sensual of all.
That's very true.
The departments in a grocery store. These cougars were hitting on you, and you were like, well, and they're like, yeah, this guy just doesn't get it. They were giving you the melon routine, man.
I also had a woman ask me when we were going to get new potatoes. Which I didn't know that was a type of potato, new potatoes.
Oh, yeah, the new one comes out.
I said, we get them every Saturday. The truck comes I was like, oh, Saturday? So, okay, great, thanks. And I'm like, and then I mentioned that to Nick. I go, yeah, some lady's asking about when we're getting new potatoes in. He goes, yeah, we have new potatoes. And I was like, wait, what does that mean? What's a new potato? He had to explain it to me. Like, sorry, I missed that whole first 2 days where you told me what everything was.
Not like when the U of M concocts a new apple for us or something like that.
Not exactly the same thing, no. I was a little over the holidays at the grocery store, saw a toddler melting down. Watched the parents, and I feel for you because we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
But I watched them in a space of about 40 seconds, they tried 6 different things. You could tell they were just, the first thing was just to ignore it. Like, well, you can go ahead and cry yourself out. And then they realized, wait, there's a bunch of people here. And then they got up, and then they started doing the hard, like, no, this is how this works. This is inappropriate. This is inappropriate, Scotty. Scotty, it's inappropriate. And then Scotty didn't give a flying fart at the moon that it was inappropriate. And then it's like, okay, what do you want? What do you want? By the end of it, like, the kid's literally holding an almond joy. I'm like, man, you guys really you got to work on your game.
Yeah, 15 more years of that, and you'll have yourself quite the brat. But, it's nice when you've got the two, and then the other one, it's like, get him out of here. Let me grab the kid. I'll take the screaming kid into the parking lot. We're going to do a couple of laps. I'll pretend like I'm a single dad. It'll attract some chicks. It'll be fun.
Man, that's tough. That's tough, man. I just going to say this one more time. We already talked about this too, but this is the story of the day that's in my craw. And that is that a gentleman in Washington, D.C. bought a Powerball ticket last year and logged on to the D.C. Lottery website the next day to find that he had won. He matched all 5 numbers plus the Powerball number, 6 for 6, $340 million. And then he took a photo of the ticket to prove that he had it. He told one person about it, went to the lottery building a couple days later, the offices in D.C., to say, hey, I'm the jackpot winner. I'm ready here. Probably established a trust, probably did all the things you do to keep it anonymous. And he was told, oh, no, I'm sorry. We posted the wrong numbers on Saturday night. No, those aren't the accurate numbers. We made the change. We realized it later after the fact.
All right.
He says the numbers were actually listed improperly for 3 days. My man had 3 days to prepare for his life as a guy with, after taxes, over $100 million. And he was told, oh, no, I'm sorry. We put the wrong numbers up. You got nothing.
Oh,
nothing.
Man. John Cheeks is the guy's name, and you're being kind to the lottery official workers who could use maybe a better bedside manner. According to John Cheeks now, we only have the man who thought he won $340 million. We only have his side of the story, but listen how callously he says they handled it when he walked in thinking he'd won $340 million.
Hey, this ticket is no good. Just throw it in the trash can. And I gave him a stern look. I said, in the trash can. He goes, oh, yeah, just throw it away. You're not going to get paid. There's a trash can right there.
There is precedent for this. A similar case happened in Iowa where a mistake was admitted to by a contractor, and they paid the winnings out.
If that was me and the guy said, just throw it in a trash can, I'd go Jason Bourne and I'd paper cut that guy to death with that lottery ticket.
Yeah.
I'd rip his face apart with that lottery ticket, man.
Yeah. First of all, I mean, you would... hold on, we're going to get a manager. We're going to get the highest ranking person we have in the audience, or in the office rather, to talk to you about this. Handle it with kid gloves. But it almost sounds like you were trying to cover it up. Yeah, just throw it. There's the waistband. No, it's right there. No, it's right there. Throw it right in there right now.
Brutal.
Yeah. Why do I have a feeling that the person who came out to the counter was the same person who put it up on the screen for 3 frickin' days?
Yeah, no kidding.
A lottery that would eventually pay out $750 million, that Powerball, because they didn't pay him, and his lawyer's going to see what they can get. I'm sure there was some fine print each time you buy those that's going to prevent him from seeing any serious payout. But
it just grinds my gears that now when I finally do log on and see that I've won, I still can't believe it. I might have to take a chance of going down there and having them tell me to throw it in the trash can.
Right, exactly. But just think of mentally the break you would make from reality. The reality you live in now and the reality you would just put yourself in. Now, for several days before he finds this out, now you have to put yourself back in your old reality.
Well, and you have to answer the question for weeks. Hey, what's wrong? And your answer is, I never thought I'd have to see you again, dude. That's what's wrong.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's rough.
I might have texted a couple of people. I probably would have already quit I'd probably go down and make sure it was all signed, sealed, and delivered before I actually quit the gig. But, yeah.
Well, but instead of looking forward to when we all cash in our chips, let's look back.
Today, on this day,
Nothing happened.
yes, it did. Yes, it did. So what happened?
What is it, Steve?
Oh, I'll tell you what happened. On this day in 1997, Barry Bonds signed with the San Francisco Giants for 2 years. 2 years for $22.9 million. And everybody went, oh, my God, we have lost our minds. $23 million for 2 seasons of baseball. Of course, a quarter of a century later, Shohei Ohtani just signed with the Dodgers for 10 years, $700 million. 70 million per times 10. And you know wherever Barry Bonds is right now, he's pissed off about that. Because that's just kind of how he rolls. That
He's
should have
pissed
been
off
me.
with an asterisk.
He sure is. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.